Bum, 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 bum. Hey, it's the Bennington Show, back after Gail's big weekend trip. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I am Ron Bennington. How was Miami Beach?
Miami was as gray as it is today here in New York City the entire fucking weekend.
Well, I'll just tell you something that Jackie Gleason said to me a long time ago. He said Miami Beach audiences are the greatest in the world. And I don't think that was to get a cheap pop. I think he honestly meant it.
Now, this is my first time returning to my homeland in like 18 years, something like that. So it was really crazy to be back there, and it was wild. I also never experienced Miami as an adult, so I've never, kind of like walked that strip at night or, there was a lot of crazy stories that happened this weekend, but there is one that honestly trumps all. Like, insane. Too insane for me. I'm still processing what it was. And I'm adding the fact that I flew back in a storm where like lightning was cracking around my plane. No, that's nothing. I had a situation where someone who has a nut allergy, an almond, and we nearly had to rush her to the hospital because her throat was closing. No, that is bottom of the list. So we're trying to make a good weekend, even though it's gray. So the weather is still warm, and we're on the beach as much as possible. Mm-hmm. The water's still really gorgeous. It's like that green, neon, South Beach water. And I love to swim. I'm not like the kind of person who lays on the beach all day. Like, I kind of always stay in the water. So I'm with a big group of girls, seven of us. So at this point, some of the girls are coming into the ocean. Some of them are leaving. They'll stay in for like 15 minutes. But I can't get enough of it because the water is so beautiful. And I'm in the water with two other girls. Mm-hmm. We can call them Susan and Lulu, because that's their real names, is why. So I'm in the water with these two women. I got 4 girls on the beach, right? And I'm standing there, and Susan kind of swims up to us, and she's like, "Guys, this is so great because I normally don't feel comfortable in the ocean. It's like this water is so warm, and you can see your feet. It's so much less scary, and I've never been in water this peaceful." And we're like, "Yeah, this is a fucking great weekend, guys. Like, we really made a really special bachelorette, making memories, and all of a sudden, fucking time stands still. 8 feet away from us. The water breaks. Cuts like a fucking knife. A fin out of the fucking water. Slicing through it. Not bobbing happily. Not frolicking about like a dolphin. Fucking slices through the water. 8 fucking feet away. This thing I cannot see from nose to tail, but I'm going, this is big. Bigger than me, for sure. I can't see the whole animal. I cannot see the whole thing. And it's like one of those moments where time just fucking stands still, and we turn and we look at each other, and then Lou just goes, "Was that a?" And I just go, "Go." And we fucking cook. I mean, my fucking muscle. I have perfect form. Yeah. I've never full fucking Olympian swim. And I'm telling you, I'm swimming next to Lulu, who is a fucking yoga instructor. Yeah. She's very fit. So her and I are fucking neck and neck. Cause I'm not that fit, but I've been swimming my whole life and I love to swim. So I'm a pretty strong swimmer. Right. And I look back, I have enough to look back and see Susan fucking flopping. She's not a swimmer. This is a girl I've never really done this before. This is really the farthest I've ever gone out. I swear, there's nothing I can do though. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm just turning like
hero?
fucking, no. Like, and I'm telling you, there are some bitches on the sand who said the same thing. Why didn't you turn around for Susan? You don't know what I saw. You don't know how you would react. I'm doing the best I can. I'm looking over my shoulder like, just hoping to not see a little pool of blood like she's a fucking Kittner boy.
I'm not going to split that shark open and see the Lulu kids spill out all over the dock. Now, South Beach means friendship.
Now, here's the fucking thing. So we hit the fucking sand, and Susan's face is like she's seen a ghost. She has no blood. Everyone did say all of our lips were like purple. They've never seen anything like that. All of us had purple lips. But Susan just looked like dead. Mm-hmm. Lulu like was in shock. And I swear to God, I could
finally alive for the first time.
I could have lifted a fucking car over my head.
Yeah.
And I remember like on the beach and I couldn't sit and I was like pacing and I was thinking, guys, I'm going to crash real hard after this. Like, I don't know if I'm going to make it to dinner. Like, I can tell what is going through my veins feels like drugs.
What you had was the feeling that Navy SEALs live with. That thing of you're so close to danger that it feels almost fantastic.
Because here's the thing. You're swimming out. No, it's not like I'm swimming over my head. Mm-hmm. I'm probably at like chest level water. So, but you know how like the sandbar goes out for a long, the sand goes for a long time. So you still have to swim pretty far for you to just be like on land.
Right.
So it fell in my mind forever. Like forever till I hit the fucking sand. Like I kept my eyes open because I was like, if this thing fucking cuts me off and is like in front of me, like I'm going to be ready to like Shark Week hit the nose.
It's the nose, those the eyes.
No, I don't know. I remember like
you bashed the nose and then try to get a thumb into the eye.
I was like, I kept my eyes open like burning salt water, just like. Now here's the thing. Mm-hmm. I know that what people are going to say. They're going to go, hey, is it any possible way that it was something else?
Nobody was going to say that. Because
here's why. Because I had one person on the beach, one guy was like, tarpon are pretty common. I go, yes, I've lived in Florida. Right. Tarpon are huge. They get massive.
4 or 5 feet.
And they have a fin. But they have scales. They look like a fish. This is a smooth body. And this is slicing through water, not porpoising happily like a dolphin.
You know what the problem is, though, right, Gail?
What?
There's video of you when you said you were hit by a bird. And
no.
You weren't. It didn't even come close. And that's going to muddy up the shark waters.
I have 2 character witnesses.
Oh, no. I'm not going to believe women in the water.
Only one of them is partially blind. Susan wears glasses. The other one is...
Lulu is the one you left to die?
No. Lulu and I were like swimming hard. Susan, I was like, bye, Susan. It was so good to know you. I am glad I have the bed to myself tonight.
I always say you don't have to be faster than the shark. You just have to be faster than the slowest person that the shark is chasing.
Just faster than Susan is all I needed to do. That's all I needed to do. Once I got to like knee deep, did I like double back and pull her as much as I could? Yes, but I was not going to fucking turn around and
look, you don't have to make excuses.
Lifeguard?
Yeah, you don't have to make excuses around us. We don't know Susan. We don't give a shit about Susan.
No.
Worry about yourself, Gail.
She did. You don't have to tell her that. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's what happened, Chris. That is what fucking happened.
So, by the way, the because Army Brat wrote this, first a bird, now a shark. I just wish that you didn't get caught in so many lies about animals.
I'm telling you, this was... Now, look, I can tell you the truth of it. I can't tell you how big this thing was. I can tell you I saw a couple feet of first fin, and then there was like a big triangle fin, then a second smaller triangle fin after it, then tail swishing under the water that I couldn't really see the full tail. But I saw
probably 18-footer, it sounds like. Sounds like a 18-footer.
It's a tiger shark. A what? One of these, like this sharp fin, then tiny fin.
What
after.
you're saying could have been two kids just playing with their shark.
No!
Because I saw that. I saw that before. I believed it at first. I yelled out in the theater, but to no avail. Hey, Mike, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Gail, was it actually Shark Week in the water, or was it a shark?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Are you saying that the ladies were bait? Yes, there was one menstruating woman in the water. We thought about it.
I'm starting to sound like this sounds like Shark Week, but W-E-A-K.
You guys, I'm changed. I'm fucking different now. There is no, there's no way for me to be the same Gail you all know. I can't.
How long do you think the entire incident took?
Wait, you just said instant.
Incident.
I guess an instant. It's so hard to say because I'm sure that it was like saw the fins, and then we were on the shore. I can't even imagine because it felt so long. Like I have no concept of how long it took me to get from shark to shore.
How far do you feel like you were off the shore? Were you 20 yards? Were you 5 yards?
No, more than probably I would say about 20, 25 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Probably about that length. But it wasn't that deep. It was like chest level. It's like a slow incline.
Like a low tide.
Yeah.
So you swimming 25 yards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Know that I'm not a tall person.
No.
So these legs are cannot propel me too far. But God damn it, are they strong.
Well, you're now acting like you saved your own life, which apparently the shark didn't attack anybody.
No, the shark, and that's something I will admit. It's not like this shark was coming at us like mouth first. Like, This was a shark who was, from the way he kind of semicircled us, I think it was just like, hey, what's up with these things? Is this a thing I can eat? Is this a thing I should be worried about? He literally was just checking us out. It was not like seeing a great white shark coming at you teeth first.
Yes.
This was like a medium size.
Here's what it was like. Like you were going out to the mall through the parking lot. You saw two black guys, so you ran to your car.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean you were almost killed.
Right.
Your own prejudice of seeing a shark.
Exactly.
Because some people will swim with sharks.
Yes. This shark did not follow us. This shark was not, out for lunch. This was just, pure terror of, what you think is possible.
Yes.
A stereotype of sharks.
Well, the fact of the matter is, you were in more danger with the almonds. So somebody has an entire nut allergy, not even just a peanut allergy?
She has an almond and, it's like there was one other, macadamia nut. It's just two specific nuts. And she ate an almond. And her throat closed.
That's scary when
Benadryl.
someone's throat closes.
Yes, it was really scary. Benadryl, we had the EpiPen ready. It was pretty intense.
Sean, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Ron and Fez.
Yeah.
So Gail was in chest-deep water, so we're talking, 18, 20 inches?
Now, here's the thing. A shark can attack in a foot of water. Everyone always thinks it's how deep the water is matters. It does not.
Yes, and also don't forget, in Florida, it's a very common shark. It's like sandbar sharks. These are sharks that eat and mate in very shallow water.
That's weird.
No, it's very common. It's like sharks hang out in shallow water.
Yes, they do, particularly since, and this is a big thing, that the oceans have been so overfished. Those kind of big fish are coming in closer than they ever have before. And there was just cases recently with great white sharks being seen off of Delaware beaches and New Jersey beaches. So, the whole thing of, we're in shallow water, we're safe, not true. Buzz, Arkansas.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
I got a comment here. She said she was 25 feet or 25 yards off of the shore.
Right.
My tractor, that's 75 feet. My tractor trailer's 75 feet.
Yeah, she was a tractor trailer off the beach.
Yeah, one good jump, a surface dive, and you're going to be head first into the sand.
Well, no, she didn't dive off anything.
I was at chest deep level.
Yeah, to go from that, just go from not pushing off. Could take a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm saying I can't tell you exactly how long it took me because I was just in pure adrenaline. But yes, with nothing to push off, you just have to go like immediately on the surface of the water and swim. It felt like it took me a long time. But I'm not the type of person who swims far out. I don't swim out to like the buoy. I don't swim over my head. I've never been that kind of person.
You don't swim the ropes?
No, I do not swim the ropes. I never have.
In my family, you had to be able to swim the ropes before you could freestyle swim. So you had to show everybody in your family you could swim from buoy to buoy. Swim the fucking ropes. When I was your age, I swam the ropes and back. Everybody apparently was an unbelievable swimmer in their youth, even though I didn't see them pulling it off. Well, Gail, you looked danger in the eye. And you lived.
Black ice, like the doll's eyes.
Let me just say this to you. Done up. Take your thumb off of line 2, tell them. Take your thumb off of line 2, thank you. Tom, what's up?
How you doing, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, listen, Gail, that's, if you go on YouTube, you can watch videos. That's a very common thing in South Florida. You'd be surprised. Sharks swim amongst swimmers. It's actually kind of scary.
Well, if you go even a little further up, like Cocoa Beach area, I think that's kind of like the number one shark attack thing. And mainly in Florida, you get bit and then they move on. They don't, drag you out to sea. But I think there's more shark bites on that coast than anywhere else in the country.
Do sharks just not like the taste of human?
I think that they get a hold of something. They're like, that's big. That seems like a lot of work.
Well, they don't eat a lot of meat. They eat seafood, right? So, I mean, they're going to probably assume that if you're in the water, you're some variation of seafood.
Right. It's not fishy enough.
What do you call your diet that you're on, Jen?
Pescatarian.
They're pescatarians.
That's
what they are.
That's what they are.
You, on the other hand, Chris, are a Presbyterian.
Love beef.
What's up, John?
Hey, guys. Fins to the left, fins to the right. You got another shark in town.
Okay, thanks. Eddie, Fort Worth.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
Hey, 2 quick things. Number one, my brother and I were surf fishing off Gulf Shores, and there was a shark 10 yards off, just swimming parallel to the beach. And then number 2, so we got the hell out of there.
Sure.
Number 2, if you ever checked out liveleak.com, they have a video just today of a 15-foot great white that was in 3-foot deep water over in the Sea of Cortez off Baja.
Yeah, everybody always thinks that you're super safe, but the fact is they're coming in. They're coming in closer.
I'm in like probably about 3.5 to 4 feet water, you would say, like about this length, height. Yeah. So it's not like I'm going out crazy far.
But, the guy who wrote up the Jaws thing, it was based on some attacks that had happened in Jersey. And that shark had gone up a river. So it was a great white shark that was hitting people in a river in Jersey. Here's our friend Holly in Florida. Hey, Holly.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
With the shark, I've been with people that have caught sharks right on the beach. Like, I've been walking on the beach before and seen people catching sharks. And the people were swimming right there, and the guy's reeling in a shark, you know. But they're not big. They're only like a couple feet long. They're just little ones. But one time, I was with my girlfriend, and her kids and her husband were racing out to the sandbar. And we were standing in a couple of feet of water watching them, and we just see this giant black cloud in the water. And I'm like, oh, my God, it's a freaking manatee. And it was going right towards them. And I swear to God, her 8-year-old kid walked on fucking water running back to the shore.
Was it really a manatee?
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
And then they made it out, like some of them made out to the sandbar, and then they were stuck out there and had to wait till the manatee went by, and they were freaking out.
Yeah, I don't think a manatee has ever hurt anybody.
No, they're like, I've been near one, just out off of the water, like on the coast, or on the Gulf.
Intercoastal.
Yeah. And they're huge, but they are cows. Like, you can see that they're just like, doo, doo, doo. Like, they don't want to.
They look like baked potatoes. It looks like a baked potato has floated up next to your boat. All right, so the manatee attack,
Yeah, manatee attack. But it was like they were, you know, it's kind of scary when you're a 9-year-old and you see this giant thing coming at you in the water.
No. I get it completely. Right. I don't like to see stuff in the water.
I don't particularly like to see fish. I'm like, ew.
I like to see Trump say, I'm going to destroy everything in the oceans. I will free and make the oceans safe. Personally, I like to do this. I like to clear out the oceans of any animals. Then I'd also like to run some cement across the sand. So you have a nice kind of a pool deck feel that wraps around the country. And then chlorine, filters, and let's really get this thing nice.
I am all for it.
No. If I was running for president, I'd go like this. Ladies and gentlemen, once I'm president, the only thing you're going to find in the ocean is pool toys. Yes! Thank you. Bum, 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 bum.
I should also mention, I am obsessed with and just in complete terror of sharks. Like, my whole life, I always thought, like, what if? Like, every time I'm in the water, I'm like, what if
Everybody
there was a shark?
That. I don't know why you think that you're alone. Since Jaws came out, all people think about is dangling feet.
But then, here's the thing. I always thought that if I saw a shark, even in the distance, that I would not survive it, even if it didn't attack me, because I thought I would drown from fear. Like, I would just start inhaling water.
Well, you saw the truth. You have survival.
I do. Flight. I have flight, not fight.
You should swim towards it.
Not today, Shocky! Swim!
Smile, you son of a bitch!
Go, Susan, you beautiful bitch! Swim for sure!
Roger, in Akron.
Hey, Ron, check out Mary Lee Shark on Google. It's a tagged great white, and you can follow its path. And it's literally right off the shore at New Jersey.
All right, thanks. Yeah, they've been saying there's a great white just swimming around Jersey constantly. David, California.
What's going on, Ronnie V?
Yeah.
Ronnie, in Cancun, we're on the jet ski. The jet ski takes the shit. So we're off about 100 yards offshore, and we're just bobbing around out there, me and my wife. All of a sudden, we see a quarter mile, see a shadow coming towards us. And the water's clear as hell. You know, it's just clear. And you can see that shadow coming. And I tell my wife, don't fall off the jet ski.
Right.
Sure enough, it comes up right underneath us. There's a freaking manta ray, dude, about the size of a car. It just goes underneath us. Never shit my pants.
Yeah. Manta rays can be scary looking as shit. It looks like a really mean blanket coming towards you. Like a really cruel blanket. All right, so Gail lives. She survives the shark attack. Coming up at 2 o'clock today, it's Jim Jefferies unmasked. Jim Jefferies unmasked. And from what I understand, we've got a signed poster by Jim Jefferies.
Yeah, I think we have a signed unmasked poster.
It was signed Jim Jefferies poster coming up. Play just a little clip from the unmasked. He was absolutely hysterical. What do we got here, Chris?
This is him talking about Piers Morgan and his appearance on Piers Morgan.
Well, he didn't appear on Piers Morgan. I believe it was on the Bill Maher show.
Yeah.
Bill, of course, in quite a bit of trouble, but will not get fired for dropping the N-bomity. But Piers, this was a couple of weeks ago. This is Jim Jefferies and talking about, because he got really pissed at Piers Morgan really fast. But this is Jim Jefferies talking about that.
The problem is if I talk about Piers Morgan, one of you will tweet that I talked about, or anyone listening will tweet that I talked about Piers Morgan, then Piers Morgan will pipe up again, oh, this guy needs to get press off me all the time. he took credit, Piers Morgan took credit for me getting my TV show because I told him to fuck off on television. Yeah. And the reality is the pilot had already been filmed 2 months ago, and I already knew the announcement was coming, but I just had to be quiet. And then, like, the next day they announced, because that's how television works.
Right.
You tell Piers Morgan to fuck off, and Comedy Central, a show given. You know what I mean?
So they loved it. Comedy Central loved that you did that.
I don't know if they loved it. It was, okay, what happens is me and Piers Morgan haven't liked each other for a very long time. And we're both, weirdly enough, I think he never liked me because I had a gun control routine that did very well. And he was the anti-gun foreign guy. And I think he got a little jealous that I took a bit of his thunder because he was the anti-gun foreign fella. And so anyway, a few times one time when I was very drunk, took a few digs at Piers Morgan because he's very easy to bait on the internet. Now, I hate internet trolls, but Piers Morgan's a different animal, you know. And so I went after Piers and just baited him a bit until he lost his fucking shit. And so that happened, and then I did it again, and then you know, it was always weird how I feel like me and Piers have very similar political views, but then he sucks up to Trump just because he was on the Celebrity Apprentice. You know, he's always sucking up. He'll defend anything, you know. Anyway, so I didn't know that I was on the show with Piers Morgan, and I sent out a tweet the day I was doing Bill Maher that was, hey, I'm going to be on the Bill Maher show today. Tune in on HBO at whatever time it's on, you know. And then he sent me a message that said, I'll be sitting 5 feet away from you. Bring your A game. And so this wasn't a spare of the moment thing. Right. That whole afternoon, I was like, if that cunt gives me a window. You know what I mean? Like, I was looking for a fight, you know, and so I sat there and I thought, if I get a chance, and then he gave me a window and I fucking went to town on him. And the weird thing about it was he was probably winning the fight, but then I teased, I was being childish, I was yelling at him, talking over the top of him. It wasn't a real great discussion from me. But then he did something stupid that you should never do to a comedian. So he went, okay, you're losing your audience here, Jim. Mm-hmm. I know when I've got the audience or not. Every comedian knows that. I said, so am I really? And then they all clapped, and then it's like he lost all of his power.
Yeah, he was crushed.
But afterwards, I put my arm around him and I took a photo for, you know, after the show. And I said, bit of fun, isn't it, Piers, you know? And then he didn't show up. He didn't show up for the drinks afterwards. He didn't want to be in the same room as me. So I'm going to put it out here. You're more than welcome to come on my show, Piers, if you'd like to come on, and we'll chat again and we'll go an extra round, you know?
But it's the way that goes on for, he was hysterical that day, and you're going to hear it at 2:00 today, your chance to win the signed poster, first responders. That's all coming up at 2:00 today.
Dude, he was hilarious. This is such a great unmasked, so I'm really excited to share it.
Cool. I think we got Ron Funches stopping by today before that as well.
Yeah, Ron's stopping by. He has a tour. He's on tour.
Okay. Teddy. Whoops, hold on. I'm in trouble with these fucking phones. There we go. Teddy, you're on the air.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Cool.
Ronnie, I wanted to ask you about, you mentioned a movie last week called Christina on Netflix. And you said not to look what it was about.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like a little puppy dog, I watched it. And, dude, that was fucking dark.
Yeah, it was very, very dark. And it was based on a true story. And apparently they stayed pretty truthful to it as well.
Gail, did you see it? Did you guys, anybody else see it? Because I don't want to ruin it.
No, don't ruin it because I have it saved because I was away this weekend, so I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah.
Ronnie, is there any way you can explain the song at the end without ruining it? What the fuck? Is that what I thought it was?
Yeah, let's, we'll save it. We'll save it for when they say it, and we'll bring it up then.
Oh, okay.
All right,
No problem.
Yeah, call us back in a couple of days. We'll pick up this conversation from the top.
All right. I'll just sit on hold.
Yeah, you sit here on hold, and probably within 72 hours, if not 96 hours, we'll be back with you. Coming up at 2 o'clock today, Jim Jefferies unmasked. His new show is tonight on Comedy Central. Here's an interesting story TV-wise over the weekend. So the Kevin James show, Kevin Can Wait, their final episode, they put Leah Remini on it, the final episode of the season.
Uh-huh.
And then she played, she was his wife on the old show, and then she played his cop partner on this show. Then they said, we have just signed Leah Remini now to be a regular on the show. And then the following day, we fired the wife, right? So the wife is fired, and Leah Remini is back from King of Queens. So I immediately ran back because I gave, Kevin Can Wait a little try, and then, how you forget. So I'm like, let me go back and watch this, last episode to see, what the chemistry. There's not only mom that they fired, but there's all kinds of kids. The kids have boyfriends, and Leah Remini is an ex-cop partner of his, and he's a retired cop, right?
Right.
So he shouldn't even be with, you know what I mean? I don't know whether they're rebooking this whole show, but this is the funny thing about Kevin James. So he has a big hit show, and then he's had some pretty good movies for himself. So they go, will you come back to TV? He goes, yes, if I can do this show from Long Island, which I've never heard of a show being there before, and have my brother and all my buddies that I grew up with in the show. So he does that. I mean,
Right.
This is like a fucking home movie for him. I don't know how this adjusts the entire show. I'm now fascinated because I am a big Scientology fucking fan, and I never miss Leah Remini's Scientology show.
You love her.
Yeah. And this is basically, this is my impression of Leah Remini talking to Scientology. Fuck you. I mean, she fucking goes after them week after week. And this year, they're promising a lot of abuse stories, both physical and sexual in nature. This is an unbelievable fucking show. But now she's going to split this between the new Kevin James show. I don't know how we're going to work it all out. This is good news for Scientology.
What are they even going to do with this storyline? So they have kids together. So they're just going to be like, they're divorced now?
I don't know. They could kill the wife off, or Leah Remini could just show up as the mom and act like nothing happened. Who knows?
I hope they do that.
But I will admit this. There was no chemistry between Kevin James and the girl who played his wife.
Right.
It seemed like she was playing his oldest daughter.
Oh, God.
I know none of you guys have seen the show. Right?
I haven't seen Kevin Can Wait.
What did you say?
I haven't seen Kevin Can Wait.
So, yeah, I mean, I get why they probably felt they had to make the move. It's not that she's not a good enough actor. It's just like, why would she be married to
They
this
don't seem
fucking
like a
guy?
couple.
Yeah. They don't even seem like they'd be in the same bracket under any circumstances. New Gail Meets Girls is out.
Yes, Lori Kilmartin and Trisha Bates. So go to theinterbang.com to download.
And it seems like you're always getting those purpley pictures taken.
Yes, it gets so purpley.
Yeah. Well, this might be my favorite ever. I love that Lori Kilmartin.
Oh, she's so great.
And of course, I love Trish.
Yeah, they're really great, and Lori's special is so fantastic. And she's going to be on Conan this Thursday, so everybody make sure you check that out.
I will be checking it out because she actually works for Conan.
Yes.
Conan O'Brien, that is.
She's done a couple of spots, and she, sometimes...
She writes monologue with him.
Yes. So she works, she's a writer for him, but she's done sets on there before, and then also, like, sometimes, like, when they need women in sketches, you'll see her pop up.
That's a little extra money, too. If you say a word on fucking TV, that's extra money. I remember in the old days, if somebody was pregnant and they were on the staff for the Letterman show, Dave would make sure that they got to say something on the air about once a week, bringing that a little extra money for the baby, which was I always thought was sweet. All right, this is a big story now, too. Ari Shaffir has that hit show on Comedy Central called, I believe it's called This Is Not Happening.
Yes.
Now, Ari just sold 2 specials to Netflix, and now Comedy Central is not having him back to host his own show. They gave it to our other buddy, Roy Wood Jr., and no one is saying is because he's sold specials to the competition or not.
Now, this was his show, correct?
He invented it.
He came to
created it, hosted it, everything. Books it.
And that just means is that a typical thing that you would sign in a contract when you end up doing a deal like this?
There's no
TV?
typical, my friend.
Okay.
But I remember Jay Moore was listed as a creator of Last Comic Standing, and they replaced him.
Right.
So there is no typical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is no typical.
Man, that's really crazy though. But it's like, and then there's no like explanation why. It's just the implication is probably because of the other deal. Yeah.
I mean, they may have their own things, but I will tell you this: I read the book about the Daily Show during the Jon Stewart ages, and I was shocked how little leverage I felt Jon Stewart had with Comedy Central. And I was shocked how little they got, how much gold Stewart was running through there.
Right.
Like when he wanted to do the expanded hour, like let's suppose we all watch Jon Stewart, most people, at least from 2000 on.
Yeah.
And about what time did he come up with Colbert? Around 2010?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
So 10 years of fucking rocking the bay to the beaches. And he goes, hey, we have an idea. We don't want to lose Steven. Steven's been here long enough. Let's expand, give Steven his own half hour. Or we're going to lose him. And Comedy Central went, I don't know. And you would think that they would go, more chances for us to print up money. Great, let's do it. But they don't think that way.
Yeah, it is weird that they'll take something that is creative. They'll go, this is perfect for us. We'll make money from this thing. And then they have no connection to what the value of the product is other than money.
Not only that, they think that they're smarter than the creators.
Yes.
They believe they are. Based on what I couldn't begin to fucking tell you. I couldn't begin to tell you. But I feel like if I had their job, I'd be smart enough to go, hey, this Jon Stewart thing's been working, and now that he wants to expand it, the chances are pretty good that'll work.
Right, exactly.
But they don't do that. They do not do that. Mainly because most of them stay in those management positions for a very short time.
The only time you'll see them take a chance like that is when they've seen 3 other fucking people do the same exact thing. That's the thing that's really crazy, is that they're so afraid to be the first to do something different, but then they'll go, that other show does this thing like this. I think that's what we should do.
Yeah. That is the idea of a corporate idea. Is to, let's suppose we're like, hey, Chris Stanley does a show where everybody wears a red hat.
Mm-hmm.
I've got an idea. our show, everybody will wear an orange hat. That's as far as their ideas go. Chris, what's the story with Bella Thorne?
So Bella Thorne, the young actress, she was known through Disney. She got known through Disney. That's how she became famous. She posted to, I believe, Snapchat, basically a topless picture. She's in a sheer dress.
All right, let me check with Jen. Jen, do you know who Bella Thorne is? You know the youngsters.
Yeah, I watch her TV show, Famous in Love.
I've never heard of this show, Famous in Love. And it's on the what channel?
It's on Freedom.
I've never heard of Freedom. All right, now there is Bella. Well, that's not even sheer. Sure.
She went out to the club in that.
Now, would this look different if there wasn't a light flashing on it?
I doubt it. I mean, it's probably, there's more definition probably with the light, but that's a fully sheer top.
Yeah, you could definitely, especially the nipple piercings that she has. You could.
It looks like that she should be talking about Bill Cosby put something in her oatmeal. She does not look like a star to me, if I'm going to be totally honest.
I don't like...
That's not a star body or a star mug or star hair. She looks like a girl from the neighborhood.
Yeah, she's just like an attractive girl, you know? You're like, oh yeah, she's
This
pretty.
might not be the most attractive picture of her even. Like, she doesn't look like she could win prom queen there. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't look like she'd be the prettiest in her school.
She's also the one that went to Cannes with Scott Disick.
Oh. Yeah. So this is a whole new world for her.
She's one of Disick's angels. That's what he's calling them.
So when that's the nipple piercing, that's what they call a barbell or a...
Yeah, like that when it's like a straight as opposed to a ring. Yeah, exactly. It's like a post as opposed to...
Nipple piercing's like the new tongue piercing. Like, girls used to get tongue piercings all the time. Now
the nipple piercing's been around as long as the tongue piercing.
But it's now really popular because of, like, the
I feel like it's the same.
I feel like nipple piercings...
I think since the early 90s, all right? Like Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
From Lollapalooza on, you've seen nipple piercings with girls and guys.
I agree.
And I don't get the premise.
I think... I mean, maybe even I would say that the men have dropped off a little, but the women maybe have stayed the same. I wouldn't say like this is some new thing. It's like women have always done this.
Yeah, I think now it's just women are doing the whole no bra, topless thing now.
That's probably you're noticing it more.
Yeah.
And you don't see many breasts, Chris, so in real life.
I don't know what that means. He was very big on Twitter and something terrible happened.
What happened, though?
I think he's been banned and he doesn't want to tell us.
You're no longer wanted here.
All right. I brought up Cosby, and did you see that his first day, Rudy showed up to be sitting with him? Yes.
You're kidding.
No, Rudy was there, and the people of Philadelphia are very upset with her. I saw it on Philly.com, and I think there was an article like why Rudy should stay home. But she was there support. Now, look, I see nothing wrong with supporting your friends, even if your friends are wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who needs a friend when you're right? That's what I say. A lot of people have gotten mad at me for supporting certain people who've been wrong, but that's when friendship plays in. Like, yeah, this guy's a fucking asshole. My buddy is an asshole. AJ, Kentucky.
Hey, Ron, Gail, Centaur.
Yeah.
I was wondering if have you been watching American Gods on HBO?
I have been. It's not exactly in my wheelhouse, but I started with it and I'm sticking with it.
Well, I haven't read the books. I just wondered if you'd read the books.
No, I don't read. They call them illustrated novels. I call them comic books. I haven't. I believe it to be somewhat frustrating, but I'm staying with it. I'm staying with it. Now, Liz Sets Fire wrote to me and said, I want you to watch this show. And I think it's on Amazon. Mm-hmm. And now I'm on Amazon Prime. And it's called Flaked, right? And the Arrested Development guy is a co-writer.
Yeah.
It was very annoying to me. I watched the whole first season. There was a couple swerves that were so goddamn annoying, I couldn't stand it. And I'm mad at all the people because, I mean, Flake himself is like 46 years old, and he still treats girls like he's in high school, you know? And people, these fucking slacker guys, it's like Californication. They get to sleep with these amazing women and one-nighters.
Right.
And then it's gone. And you're just like, doesn't fucking happen that way. And then, then I watch all of season 2 because it comes out the following day. After what? Now I can't hear back from her. I want to fight about this fucking stuff. And she's MIA.
Right.
I'm on the fucking pay no mind list. And I got no one else. Like, you guys don't watch Flake.
No.
But I did get into another show on there that I liked. Vito, you sticking your head in like you've seen Flaked?
Yeah, I watched all of it also.
What do you think?
I didn't mind season 1, but I know exactly what you're saying. And then season 2, I didn't even know that was the last episode. I felt like it just ended in the middle.
Lazy.
It was.
A lot of the shows that don't have to worry about ratings get very fucking lazy. Very lazy. Now I'm going to give you another. My problem was the central thing that was his whole character was false. And I'm watching it for, and I don't mind that he's a liar in the program. None of that stuff offends me. But you can't say this is who they are and they're not.
Yeah.
At a certain fucking point, like, why am I watching this? They can do whatever they want now. You can just turn around and show cameras going like this. Oh, don't worry. This is just a fucking TV show. See the cameras? Come over here. Here's my dressing room. That would be an unbelievable swerve that I wouldn't see coming, but would be frustrating. Now, I did now watch a show on Amazon Prime. And Chris, I want you to pull this up because I want you to read off the cast of this. The show is called I Love Dick. And it's about 2 middle-aged Brooklyn artists / hipsters who go to Marfa, Texas to be part of this, I don't know, kind of art project. It's a real place. There's only you've heard of it before?
I've heard of it, but I've never watched this show. But
So read off the cast, Chris.
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon is Dick.
Catherine Hahn.
Love her. Maybe my favorite right now.
Griffin Dunn.
Have loved him for fucking almost 40 years. So that's all you really need to get into. Those 3 fucking people. But she's amazing. She's one of
Catherine Hahn?
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of her.
Just amazing. And she's crazy fucking good in this.
She's also in Transparent.
Which is also an Amazon Prime?
Is also an Amazon Prime show. She's the queen of Prime, I guess.
She's prime time.
Yeah, she's super good.
I want to get into this Philly reporter story, but I guess we got a break first, Chrissy.
Yeah, we got a break.
But today, in an hour, we're playing the Unmasked, Your Chance to Win, Jefferies Unmasked, the signed poster, the once-in-a-lifetime poster for this. And you won't... and then Jim's show is tonight on Comedy Central. Tonight on Comedy Central. Also, we have a flipper that Gail was wearing that a shark bit through. It's very, very exciting. Right back, Bennington.
Welcome back to Bennington.
Thanks.
Ron Funches is in the studio.
Yeah! Ron Funches.
Hi, Benningtons.
You, my friend, are half the man that you used to be.
Thank you.
You're downright tiny right now.
Oh, this is so good to hear after a night of eating cookies and snacks. You're enabling me.
He's on his Funchemania tour. Ron Funches will be performing this Thursday, June 8th at the Bell House in Brooklyn.
Too late, sold out. You can't get tickets.
Damn.
Friday, June 9th at the Trocadero Theater in Philly.
Tickets readily available.
And Saturday, June 10th at the Wilbur in Boston.
Some tickets available.
Some tickets available.
And go to ronfunches.com for all additional dates and tickets. On Twitter at Ron Funches.
Remember when you just used to work comedy clubs?
I do.
Yeah.
Like 3 weeks ago.
Yes. But are you enjoying this? I mean, this is your audience. showing up to see you.
Yeah, I'm very much enjoying it, and it's a challenge, and it's me having to care about more things than just showing up and doing my set, having to care about the counts, different ways to promote, whether it's like radio or I've been making up these little 30-second promo videos since my tour is kind of wrestling themed, of these just wrestling vignettes that I've been doing.
Yeah.
Just anything I can think of that just try to connect with people and try to not rely on clubs, like you said.
You grew up a wrestling fan?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was the peak era for you, the WWE peak era?
Peak era for me was probably like the mid-90s into the late 90s. And then also now is wonderful. Yeah.
Still loving it now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, talent-wise, it's similar to stand-up where it's entering it's like another golden age of like these just extremely talented people in all these different avenues outside of the WWE, whether it's like New Japan or these independent promotions like PWG or Ring of Honor. And so it's just similar to comedy. It's just so many avenues, so much talent, and it's just wonderful to see right now.
And now the biggest movie star in the world is a former wrestler.
Absolutely.
The Rock.
Absolutely. And the president's in the Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah, the president is. The president has... What did he get? What was his big thing he used to get every year, Vito?
He got Mania in like 5 and like the early ones at Atlantic City.
Yeah, but didn't something happen to him every year? He would get...
Oh, well,
I'm thinking of Pete Rose.
Yeah, you're thinking about Pete Rose, but he got stunned at a WrestleMania when he like went against Vince McMahon in the Battle of the Billionaires.
Yeah,
and he shaved Vince McMahon's head.
A lot of those guys were...
What if Vince had won that match? Maybe he'd be president.
Well, there isn't a big difference in personality, I think, between Vince and Trump. They're both like show business people and old school, almost like Carney circus people.
And then they both walk down to the ring like this.
Vince's walk is one of the funniest of all time. Yeah, what was your peak...
I guess I would have to say early 90s for me, early to mid 90s, because I was still little.
And it was still colorful?
Still very colorful and very character driven, and I'm such a huge Macho Man fan. Like he was my number one. So like in his heyday is my favorite.
Yeah, we've been doing this show, me and X-Pac, the only member of NWO and Degeneration X.
Yes.
We've been doing this show, Get High, Watch Wrestling, where we get high and watch wrestling. And every time, like, Macho Man promos are, like, what kills it. It's always the best.
Well, X-Pac, his thing when he was the 1, 2, 3 kid was the, like a real change because he was introduced as a jobber. He wins that match, he runs out with the money, and that made everybody for the first time think, I can't miss Monday nights because anything could happen now. They're not going to be as precious with protecting people's reputations as they used to.
I loved him as a kid. He was just so fucking entertaining.
Yeah, me too. It's like crazy. Like, he's my friend now.
Yes.
That's
so fun. I love it. But I'm like, I'm going like, it's the Lightning Kid. I've been watching you since I was a child.
Right. Randy used to live in our neighborhood, so Gail knew him when she was a little kid. I remember that he and Elizabeth brought all that stuff for you too.
Yeah, it was so sweet.
They were really, really sweet people.
And I loved Miss Elizabeth too.
Yeah, me
like
too.
She was just like, to me, just like the picture of femininity and beauty, and I thought she was so incredible, and she was so nice, because for me, loving wrestling as a little kid, like, that's like, I met superheroes, like, that was on that level where, like, if your comic book could, like, come right off the page, like, that's what it was like to me. So I remember the feeling of the first time I saw Randy, because I remember I was so excited. I remember like even like getting like a cool outfit that day, and I was like really excited. And I remember like stepping through the door, and he was I think he was in studio.
He was studio.
And I stepped through the door and like immediately walked out.
Yeah.
I was like, no,
You actually you walked backwards. It was almost like a little Michael Jackson moonwalk back out. It was so cute.
I was so overwhelmed. Like, it was just like too exciting.
I get it.
I remember one time he was following back from our club, and you and your brother were little, and somebody else was driving, and Randy had a few drinks, and we would pull up to red lights And they were crazy about Macho Man, and he would go like this, "Come into your house with your dice tonight, sleeping over yet." And he would be yelling into the back window.
Meanwhile, my dad is like, "No, Randy, you're not coming over." And me and Mom were going, "Yeah, he's coming over, he's coming over."
Yeah, heat up the popcorn, Randy's sleeping over. Yeah.
It literally was exactly like that.
Yeah. Well, I had this comedy club at the time, and he's like, "I want to come over. I don't want a lot of, I want to come in through the kitchen, not bother anyone." So I'm like, yeah, of course. So we had this thing where he would come in through the back and sit in a back table. But he was still wearing like stuff around his arms and the thing over his head and the big glasses. And then he and Elizabeth, he was like weirdly jealous all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And like protective of her. So when she walks through the comic store on stage, and she goes through the club into the ladies' room, which you can see from the stage, and then Randy goes over and just stands in front of the door so no one can get in, not even other women. And everyone was just staring at him. You know what I mean? Like, he was really charismatic.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. A force of nature.
He was.
Nature. I love him. He's one of my favorites. I've been working on writing this cartoon about wrestling in the 80s, and he's been a big inspiration for it.
Gail also got to go into the ring and dance with Coco Beware when she was a little girl. Yeah.
Yes.
Is it on tape? Or
No,
this was a
dark match. Is that
a dark match, but it was in Bradenton,
don't say
so it
that
was like a
'cause he's
house show.
Yeah, but that was such a crazy. That whole thing was like, again, the most surreal experience is being backstage. And then George the Animal Steel was there, but he was like producing, like he was back there. So it was like George the Animal Steel was like in a suit being like, "All right, young lady, what you're going to do is," and I'm just looking at him like, is this
I know what you mean.
real?
When I was at WrestleMania, I was at the buffet that they have before WrestleMania, and I just see Sting walking by with no face paint and holding 2 strawberry shortcakes. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Of course you need 2 strawberry shortcakes. You the icon.
Yeah, those guys really do kind of live backstage more. You know what I mean? It's like, you ever been to like a comedy festival and it seems weird, like when you're in Montreal and all the comedians are going through. But that's every night with that traveling show.
Yeah,
that they
traveling
have.
circus.
Ron Funches is in studio. The show at the Bell House on Thursday night is sold out, but on Friday, June 9th, will be at the Trocadero Theater in Philly, and Saturday, June 10th at the Wilbur in Boston. Go to ronfunches.com for all additional dates for the Funchomania tour and for tickets.
Now, Philly had that big problem last night, I guess, at a Craig Robinson show. The Heckler was a news person in town, and then who caught her out front and videotaped her?
Will Sylvans.
All right, Will Sylvans, who works over at the Comedy Cellar here in New York. But this is, she is part of...
Is she getting arrested?
Yeah, she's getting arrested.
I like it.
And play some of this.
You fucking piece of shit. Yes, I have ID on me. I'm not a fucking piece of shit like you. That just gets a badge because I earned it. Harass me. Go ahead. I don't fucking care. Piece of shit. You're all a piece of shit. That's why everybody fucking hates you. That's why society hates you. Because you guys do shit like this for no fucking reason. You're arresting a girl for no fucking reason because I was just seeing the audience.
I want to get involved, man. But thank. Oh, you gotta. No, all right, we're gonna do a sketch together.
You're gonna fucking arrest me. But if I have my tits hanging out, my ass hanging out, you don't arrest me, right? Because I look good and perky and cute, right? If you want to take these handcuffs on me, if I have my tits hanging out and in your face, you wouldn't fucking do that, right? I work at a fucking news station, motherfucker. I work at PHL 17.
Not no more, she don't.
Fucking bitch. Fucking need the world. No wonder everybody wants to blow your fucking heads off.
Oh my God.
This is Jack Edwards, 20316.
I'm really disruptive because I really tried spitting in his face. I tried punching him earlier. Will you write that down?
What?
Do you have ID in your bag?
Yes, I do, sir. I'm not a fucking hood rat.
See, I was about to give her that the one plus on this is that she never went racial,
Yeah.
and then at the end she went kind of racial.
Yeah, she went racial.
I was like, oh man, she's so drunk and crazy, but she never went racial. I give her a B minus, but now I hate her.
Shit. You're a piece of shit that's arresting me for no reason. You're arresting me for no reason. That's why I hate you. I did not spit on him. Show video. Show video of me spitting on him, because I didn't. I didn't spit on him. I didn't spit on him just like I'm 6 inches from your face, motherfucker. You wanted to arrest me from the minute you met me.
He was called to do this.
That's his job.
I wanted to leave too, but I want my $70 back, doll.
$70 ticket? That's
Because I didn't do anything. That's why. And here's the comedian that was starring the show, recording you. How do you like that? The comedian of the show tonight. The earlier acts. Great. I'm glad he does. Hi. I'm glad he does. I'm glad he does. You know what? Because there's a big controversy. Shitty ass cops.
She thought that this video was going to make her into a hero.
Don't push
Have a good life.
You got it.
And people like you are fucking ass.
Putting the camera in her face.
Just raise their purse.
I know she.
Whether I put the camera or not, she's been acting like that all night. So it's not. The camera's not making her act like that. She's been acting like that all night. So you can't blame the camera.
It's 15 minutes. Yeah.
No, from before the camera.
I know this girl. I ain't seen it.
Yeah,
I mean,
does it look like I fucking
that, I mean, here's what it is.
I have a nice garden and a fucking beautiful house in South Florida.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to my show.
Yeah. Philly.
Now, in the beginning, she was yelling this, and I know it was like hoagie is the ultimate Philly word. Like
Right.
you say
Hoagie.
hoagie is like,
Yeah.
everyone's like hoagie this, hoagie that. When you're doing an impression, no, I've decided it's laughing. Like she's like, I'm in the audience, I'm laughing like everyone else, and now you're gonna arrest me for nothing. I'm just laughing. That's what I'm doing. I'm laughing. You're gonna arrest me for laughing?
Now, here's what I love. First of all, that she's a news person is 100% Philly. But two is she's not slurring. She's not that drunk. No, I don't even think she's drinking. I think that's her.
Yes. I honestly, she's not falling all over herself. Other than the fact that she is trying to get her shoe on for a little while longer. But she is handcuffed. You're right. She's not like falling down drunk. She's just an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing like nothing quite as dangerous at a comedy show as a drunken, emboldened white lady.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of people were, and who went around and looked at this in comment sections. There were a lot of people going, hey, congratulations to the cop for being so reserved. But a lot of people also wrote, imagine if she was black.
Oh, yeah.
They would have put her head through the wall.
This is literally...
She would have been shot.
Like, this could be used as, like, someone says, now, what is white privilege? You can actually just play this video.
Yeah, legit. I wish it was always there.
Or, like, instead of being like, wow, he's so patient, it's like, no, he's just being a cop. Like, he's doing what a cop should do. Which is just, like, be like, this person's crazy and I'm going to go about procedure.
Yeah. They're not going to be crazy in a few hours.
But I don't know whether I don't know whether I could handle getting screamed at like that.
No.
I think I probably would have shot her in the foot.
Just the foot.
Just a little warning.
Yeah. There was that Eddie Murphy line, I'm going to blow off your pinky toe. Just shoot her in the pinky toe and see what happens. She is pure South Jersey, pure Philly, though. The fact that she could get a job doing the news with that accent makes me love that city to death.
So good. It's so good.
Time for the cheesesteak and hoagie report right outside the Eagle Stadium. They are hilarious.
Weather's looking great. It's a nice day to go to the water, have a hoagie, have a couple of laughs.
We were just laughing.
Back to Donovan McNabb.
Yeah. I wonder how many times Donovan McNabb was losing a game and had just in the huddle said, "Did someone hear someone yell the N-word just now? Seconds ago?"
Just like...
But she was restrained. I am shocked she didn't drop the M-bomb with this cop.
Because
it was right there.
I know. I was like, well, that's going to happen.
I thought so, too. I was waiting for it.
She dropped a hood rat, which is like
you know what I'm saying.
She was testing the water.
Yes, I have ID. I'm not a hood rat.
Ron Funches is in studio. Ron's performing Friday, June 9th at the Trocadero Theater in Philly and Saturday, June 10th at the Wilbur in Boston. His Bell House show on the 8th is sold out. Go to ronfunches.com for tickets and all additional dates for the Funch-A-Mania tour.
Truly one of the funniest and most unique voices out in comedy today, and it's just been a steady climb for you, buddy.
Oh, thank you, because sometimes I get so frustrated, so I need that outside perspective.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like it's moving slower.
Sometimes it seems moving slower, and it seems like I put in a lot of effort, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know if the output's matching this effort. But at the end of the day, it's like mostly just fun, so I'm like, I feel blessed, and then I have to be grateful for how far I've come, and the fact that I was like, oh, I'm just probably just going to end up dead at this bank. So
yeah, right.
I'm happy.
Yeah, I think the only thing that keeps comedy from being 100% fun is expectation. Where suddenly you just turn around and you go like this. Jesus, look at Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, you know?
Right.
Like, those are look at Louis C.K. You can pick out a couple names that you're like, oh my God, that's way bigger than what anyone else is doing. But that's the only thing to keep you from being happy.
Right.
You know? No one ever sits around going, oh, look at the guys I was in high school with.
Yeah, I really had to learn to just continue to compete with myself and just learn to get better. That's been a lot of with the weight loss and stuff. It's just like, oh, I don't have any goals. I don't have a thing. It's just constant search to get better, whether it's health-wise, being a father, or doing comedy. So if I stay in that zone, I'm fine. But then if I go to a festival and I see like all these people and I'm like, man, they're killing it. Oh, and they then sometimes you can get a little jealous, but I feel like jealousy is a good map of where you want to go.
Yeah, it is. And then some of that kind of stuff is just being at the right place at the right time. There's a certain luck to catching certain waves.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just a constant grind, and as long as you're working towards something, it's like the lotto. It's like if I keep playing, odds are one day I'll hit it, and if not, at least I played. So that's how I feel about it, and I already get so much respect and so much love and a fair amount of money, so I'm good.
Yeah.
And but I want more.
Yeah. Everybody would like to have Kevin Hart money, but I don't think I could keep that good of an attitude for that long that he has. He literally is like Tony Robbins, the comedian. Like, if you follow him on Snapchat or any of those things, it's like, all right, guys, we're working out today. And you're like,
shit, really? Are we?
Yeah. He's just pumping iron, feeling good about himself.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
I get it. I'm trying to get there.
Yeah.
I'm working my way there. But to where my life is just positive and we just work out and make money. That sounds great.
Chris, how, on a, being positive point of view, where do you think you are? Like, scale of 1 to 100.
Like 4. Like, I'm not
You're that low.
I'm very cynical.
Yes.
And I'm like the glass is half full type of person. I'm not thinking a lot of positive thought.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It's really weird because I've tried to be positive and I feel like I jinx it. I feel like positive thoughts jinx anything positive happening. So if I
that's a negative thought.
That's a really crazy thought.
Yeah.
So if you think good things.
Yeah.
So if you're happy about the way your life is going, you're jinxing your life.
That means something but the fucking crush.
So you can never be happy according to your...
That's a struggle mentality. I learned that from Waka Flocka Flame.
Listen to him.
You gotta listen to interviews about the Waka Flocka Flame. He's very well spoken.
Yeah.
But he talked about having that struggle mentality of thinking that someone can come and take your success from you, that if you aren't constantly grinding and keeping your head down and kind of mad about things, that you feel like someone's gonna take it. And that to thrive, you gotta be confident in your abilities and in yourself. And that's where I'm trying to work towards, and be relaxed and not take every single thing that comes to me. So that I'm like, oh, I never know if they're gonna like me. Like even now, like, you know, my show got canceled. The very next day I was offered another show. And then I was like, well, I have some ideas I want to do. I don't always want to be the black friend or like the thing. I want to be the lead. And so it's like, they won't make me. I have to show them that I can. So I have to make my own project. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, then I can go back and be the black friend.
Right.
But I have to take my swing.
Now, you know, you're sitting around talking about, like, you hope people, just the fact that you're at the position where you could turn down being in a TV show. At what point in your life would you ever think, I would say no to being in a TV show, because it's such a rare thing to be offered?
Yeah,
you know?
That's a very good point. I never really thought about that, but I always knew, I know in myself and I know in my core values that, like, money isn't the end all be all for me. I like to have fun and I like to not be bored.
Right.
So, like, if it was a cool project, it also gives me a great amount of money, great. But if it's a project that I'm going to go in every day and be like, I don't like this. I can't, they won't let me improvise. They won't let me be what I like to do. I already did that job. I already worked at a bank. I already knew what it was like to have my soul hurt every day. And I never want to do that again.
How much did you like being on that last show? Because that was, you guys got to do a lot of really weird, strange things on the show, going live and all that.
It was really fun. It was really fun on Undateable. That's where I got a lot of these values, was from Bill Lawrence. Like, he really kind of taught me about just staying true to yourself, and in a world where a lot of Hollywood stuff where they're like, oh, your show's coming. We love you. You're great. It's going to be a hit. It's going to be the best. You're our favorite person. We love you. Why are you even doing stand up? You're a star now. Your show ratings come out week 2 and they're not ready. Like, who are you again?
Yeah.
What's your name? You know? So it's like, you have to know that I just have my own values. I'm going to go and do my thing. I'll always have stand up. I'll always have things, my own projects, so I don't need you. Like, and that's the trap, I think, is that in Hollywood, is that a lot of times they want to put you in a position where you need their approval. And so, like, that's what I'm working towards now with these theater shows and my own projects, is so that I make my own thing. Cause like, even now, I have friends telling me they go on auditions and they have breakdowns saying that they're looking for Ron Funches types. And I'm like, you don't know what a Ron Funches type is.
Right.
You don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Because I barely know what it is.
Right. You're still working. You're still inventing the Ron Funches character, and they're going, that's what we need here.
Yeah. I know what they see. Now they're like, oh, we want a chubby, sweet weirdo. Yes. And I'm like, I'm not even that anymore. Now I'm a handsome, charming lady killer.
By the way, nails every line that he has on the show, which is always an amazing thing to see, because it's very different to be in a sitcom than it is to do stand-up.
Absolutely.
And then it's also different to be in a film.
Absolutely.
When you're doing that. But it is, we were talking about this earlier today, is no one gets noticed for what they do anyway. We were talking about reading the Jon Stewart book, where Comedy Central was saying, I don't know whether the Colbert thing, we want to get behind it. We don't want to support the next show. Well, you think, here's a guy who just killed it for you for all those years, and you're not going to go with his very next idea.
Oh, I have absolutely, I know exactly how that feels. I know exactly how that feels. Because they just like to put you in a box. It's a weird mentality that not all executives have, but it is what I call an executive mentality, is that they only, if it worked, then they go, okay, that works and that's what works. And they don't think that anything, they can't see what else will work. Like, and what the weirdest thing to me is, like, I'm about to name names. I'm back out. But you go to places and they want certain shows and they want like this type of show, and they don't see that it doesn't work because it was a crude show or it was a violent show. It worked because it was authentic to their voice, and it was a world that they created and they invited you into, and that's what works usually for most projects. And a lot of times they don't see that. They go, okay, that project worked, so give us 6 more of that project. Which, I mean, I know you know. I'm pretty
the thing is, it's a creative business, but they can only see what already exists.
Has been done. Exactly.
Yeah. So this is the most interesting thing to me. Look how, like, any game show that they put on TV now has all the same amount of color as Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Game shows did not look like that before Millionaire, but now every game show, like the new Jamie Foxx one, there's all these things. You're like, you didn't used to need that.
Right.
10, 15 years ago. But because of Millionaire, every show has to be glittering and screens and all that.
But even these live shows in New York where it's like, we do a news show or a live show in front of a window looking out at New York City, and everyone stands out and waves. It's like, who was the first one who did that, and why did we go, oh, that's what the morning
show looks like.
Yeah.
But why? Like, why did one person do it, have success, and then the next person didn't feel like, well, this is kind of embarrassing if we just do the exact same
They're
thing.
never embarrassed to steal an idea.
No, I love it when they outright do it. That's why one of my favorite show to go do is this show, I forget the name, but it's a Spanish clown show. Do you remember the name, Melanie? It's Little Nights with Little Bananas. How do I say that in Spanish? Noches con Plantanitos. Got it! And so it's a Spanish show hosted by a clown. It's one of the most popular shows on Univision. And all they do is they do really fun interviews and then they steal bits from English-speaking shows. And they're just blatant about it. And they're just like, you're going to read mean tweets. They're like, they don't do it in Spanish. It don't matter. That I have a respect for.
Right.
But when it's just people being like, we're just copying this idea, give us another Workaholics, give us another whatever, it's like, you don't have a creative bone in your body. And you don't see that, at least for me, I'm like, people, like, whether you like it or hate it, people always go, what the product that I give them is unique. Right. And so that's what I just try to work on. And it's like, man, either get behind me or not, but I'm not going to change my product. And what I've done has been working. So maybe, give me a little push, but nobody wants to give you a push.
No, they don't. They do not. It's very, very strange.
Ron Funches is in the studio. He's currently on his Funchemania tour. There's still tickets available for Friday, June 9th at the Trocadero Theater in Philly and Saturday, June 10th at the Wilbur in Boston. Go to ronfunches.com for all additional dates and tickets. On Twitter at Ron Funches.
That place in Philly, is that a newer theater too? Or is that one that's been around a while?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've only been to Philly one time.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. I kind of had the feeling you've been everywhere a lot, but
I've been a lot of places a lot of times, but Philadelphia, I've only went there once for the Undateable tour. This will be my first headlining set there ever. Yeah. So I'm excited about it. Not too many other places I've never been, but that's one.
Now, the Undateable tour, you guys went out, you did what, like 15, 20 minutes each?
Yeah, and then, Chris would close it out and do 40, 45. Yeah.
Now, you're doing an hour plus, right?
Yeah.
Is that a big difference for you, knowing that it's got to last over an hour?
I mean, not really, because I've been doing hours for a while now. But at first it was because I had to learn how to kind of change my tones up because I'm a little lower tone, and I found out that works in good in 10, 15-minute chunks. But as an hour, it didn't work, and so I had to do things where I change my tone, get angry, do some things where I'm getting angry, do things where I'm a little more energetic. Yeah. And so that there's more of a roller coaster ride for people, and so that they're not getting into my rhythm and then just zoning out.
Yeah.
So
that's fascinating, that kind of craft of comedy. Just like when people can kill for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you don't want to set out to have that rhythm that lasts an hour. You just don't want to be bam, bam, bam like you would in a short set. You've got to have spots to get conversational.
And I think unlike other art forms, it's particularly fun to think about that with comedy, because there's such an artistic eye that you need to put together a longer set like that. Yeah. But then you're still talking about a dick joke, or should I do that before? Isn't that the best part about comedy is that it's still oftentimes crude or childish or silly, but it's still very artistic.
Well, I just did this thing with, about Joan Rivers' career, and I went back through all these tapes of when she was on the show, and we put together stuff. But she said that she had to leave them with a shock. That the last thing that she said had to be shocking, or else they wouldn't think they were at a Joan Rivers show. So she always had to leave them with a gasp and have them leave going, oh my God, do you believe that old lady said that? I just love that thought pattern to it all. And awesome. I would have never picked up on that watching her over and over.
That it was a pattern that was clear to everyone else.
Yeah, that it was a pattern,
But just that she knows that that's what kills, and that's what she thinks, oh, this is my signature thing.
Even though she's not saying it's my funniest line, she had to leave it with...
Like,
oh my God, I can't believe that. I can't believe she did an abortion joke right before she walked off stage. Always good to see you, buddy, and congratulations. We're always happy for you.
Pleasure. Love coming here. Thank you for having me.
Plug us out, Chris.
Ron Funches has been in studio. Ron will be performing Friday, June 9th at the Trocadero Theater in Philly, Saturday, June 10th at the Wilbur in Boston. The Bell House show on this Thursday sold out. For tickets to the Funchmania tour, go to ronfunches.com, and for all additional dates on Twitter at Ron Funches.
See you next time coming through, Ron.
Thank you.
Coming up in just a few minutes, it's the Jim Jefferies Unmasked. He's got his new show on Comedy Central tonight. Jim Jefferies, your chance to win. Hopefully, we can do some. You never see those things. Guess how many jelly beans is in the jar?
Yeah.
Well, this one could be guess how many times Jim Jefferies says the C word. And it actually comes up during the interview where we try to get it for a few moments.
Yes. If it's not a word you are accustomed to, brace yourself.
Now, Bill Maher really took it on the chin, so much so that he had to do what I never saw him do before. Apologize. And I'll be certainly watching his show on Friday night because I can't imagine him on the apology tour.
Yeah.
But he seems to be willing to do it. He did a joke with the N-bomb in it, which made even a lot of people who were previously friends of his upset.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys watched it or were watching when it happened live, but it was a cringy moment for sure. It just was like, and not even, you take the fact that he drops the word and that's gonna cause that kind of attention no matter what. But it also is like that kind of cringe where you're like, you just dropped a joke out that laid pretty flat. Like,
which also happens to comedians all the time.
Right.
All right, but let me just say this. So the word shocking, right?
Yeah.
Jen had a DNA test and she's 1/3 everything. So she fits in. Jen, you find the word to be shocking now?
A little bit.
Okay. Because I'll make this example. And this is where we are as adults, and at some point we have to talk this and fix it. And so we don't have to keep stopping and going back to it over and over again. Over the weekend, I'm to stand. Derek Gaines and Sherrod Small on the show. So between the two of them, I probably heard the word 45, 50 times before coming home. No one is offended, even though I feel like they both use it quite a bit to where it can be a little bit overkill. Jen, why is that less offensive?
What was it?
The fact that Derek Gaines, Sherrod Small used the same word 40, 50 times Saturday night. Nobody's shocked. Now, obviously they're black guys. This is a white guy. But isn't it dumb that we have a show that we have a song, a word that only one ethnic group can say?
Yeah.
I mean, it's bizarre.
It is strange. Why do you think, Jen, that...
But gays do it.
Yes.
Gays get offended if somebody says that, but then it becomes okay for gays to do it.
Yes, in a context and in a level of comfortability. But I was even thinking that you were saying gays even speak about race more blatantly than straight people. I will say
Puerto Ricans drop the N-bomb more than anybody. And then also Asian kids.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous that we can't come to some kind of a thing on the word.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, it seems like black is like acceptable, although there are some black people who, even when black people say that they dislike it, for the most part it is more
that would
so,
only make sense to me.
Yes.
If you're black and you dislike the word, you should dislike it no matter who says it.
Right. And then as far as I can tell, it's like black people, then Hispanic people, then a very long gap, and then Asian people, and then another drop into white people. As far as I can tell, as far as like how cringy it is to hear somebody say the word.
I think it's wrong, like whoever says it, but I think black people kind of get the pass because, you know, it originated from them calling us the N-word.
But here's the thing. It can't have a pass if you want it to work that way. You know what I mean? Like, drinking and driving wouldn't be okay if it was just for white people. You know what I mean? At a point, you can't say, well, yes, they can drink and drive, because look at the pressure they've had trying to keep the country. So only white men can do it. At no time, this thing will come up over and over and over until there's a universally held thing.
But, okay, so if you try to think about it this way, are there not types of joking that you're more comfortable with, say, a friend, a group of people that you know, if they made a joke to you versus a stranger or someone that you disliked?
I'm going to say no. I would rather do 100% of the joking. I'm not comfortable when my friends attempt to joke at all.
Right. Because that's my best way to kind of understand it for me is there are certain things that people could say to me, certain words that people could say to me if I had a closeness and a comfortability and I felt like a sameness and a unity with that person versus like some dude off the street is just like, you're a cunt or something. And then I would be like, excuse me?
Yeah. I mean, it's like even when girls call each other bitch. Like, it's different when like a girl says a bitch.
So that's the closest I can.
And yet a men can say a woman is a bitch all the time without them in chance of losing their job. They could say that she's a cunt without the chance of them losing her job. This is the only place that everyone is like, why hasn't Bill Maher lost his job? Which is a ridiculous thing. And then I've seen people say Bill Maher should have been fired because the guy at Fox News was fired, Bill O'Reilly. And I'm like, well, one is a word, the other is apparently some kind of sexual assault that was paid off. Two, the reason that O'Reilly was out of there, not even because that was offensive, it was because his advertisers were attacked and the money wasn't going to come in like before. Where, let's face it, no one is going to cancel HBO based on what someone said on HBO.
Right.
It's just not going to happen that way. Because the people who, let's say, were attacking O'Reilly were not O'Reilly's fans to begin with.
Yes.
But that doesn't stop them from not going out and buying, I'm going to guess, Ivory Flakes. Ivory Flakes. They're going to get your clothes clean. But does anybody think that we should be past this in 2017?
Well, look, I definitely think that letting a word have that much power is bizarre and strange, and yet I also feel like I have to at least respect that somebody tells it that it's offensive to them, and then I have to just go, I guess I'll trust you on it.
But again, it can't be. If it's offensive, it's offensive. Now, Jen, you were saying the reason why blacks could say it is because whites invented the word?
Yes. It was meant to be like a derogatory term towards black people. So like when black people say, it's kind of like a term of endearment. And then I feel like when white people say like how he said it, it really
By the way,
wasn't
I don't
endearing.
think it's a term of endearment because I see black people calling other black people dumb that or whatever that, you know what I mean? Like they really run it down. They make it closer to hood rat than they do Goomba. The way that Italians are happy calling each other, Goombas or whatever. But I'll also say this. Since whites invented the word, if you're going to be honest about it, only whites should be able to use Italian. Because that's their word.
You're culturally appropriating it.
So I feel like then I could call myself a cracker.
I think we should.
I think they do down south. I think they will refer to each other as crackers there. I don't know. I'm so bored with this.
Yeah.
I'm so bored. I wish we could find a place. But I don't think that you could say Kanye can say this and Eminem can't. It just doesn't make sense.
Right.
It doesn't make sense for an adult to talk this way.
Right. And, I know that was, even within rap, that was like a conversation for a while, because it was like, that like white girl mob, there's like all those white girl mafia, whatever they're called, who were rapping.
That's the music I listen to.
And they were, yes, like Krayshawn, Be Nasty, Lil Debbie. I listen to them all. And they were like, look, I grew up in Oakland,
O-Town.
It's like, I understand this more than other people do. You know what I mean? And they're trying to claim ownership, and they're like, no, you literally never can. So they had that exact argument in rap.
So you're saying it's not an economic thing, it's not geography, it simply comes down to skin.
And it's also, it's one of those things where, saying that somebody should lose their job over saying it's one of those touchy things where it's like, I just have to trust that that's how people feel about it, but it is weird to give a word power in that manner.
Well, it's there, and it's worse than we even were with it a couple years ago. We have less perspective than we did, and the term N-word, you're still saying the word by saying N-word. It's like when you see a newspaper print go N blank blank blank.
Right. Sure.
G-E-R, you're like, come on! That's the symbol of the word to begin with.
Right.
You're driving me crazy.
Because letters are just symbols anyway.
Yes.
So you just use different symbols to represent those other symbols.
Right. That's why you won't let a little kid say, he said he wants the F-U-C-K me in the A-S-S. That's saying it. That's saying it. All right, we got to get ready for Jim Jefferies. And as I say, C-word is where Jim goes. First responders, you can use, you can win a sign-on-mass poster with Jim Jefferies.
And the Jim Jefferies show premieres tonight, 10:30 p.m. on Comedy Central. And tweet at Jim Jefferies and at Bennington Show, and check the Bennington Show Twitter to win that poster.
First responders, it'll be out there. All right, that's it. We got to do a quick break. Back with Jim Jefferies. This is hysterical, by the way, and more right here on Bennington. Jim Jefferies.
All right. This is exciting.
It is exciting. This is a good time for you. The Jim Jefferies Show premieres Tuesday nights, 10:30 on Comedy Central. But you were just telling me you're not exactly sure.
I'm not exactly sure what the show is because the news hasn't happened. Like, I know what sort of the second act and the third act's going to be because we've vaguely written those scripts and we have a field piece that we've put in the first episode, so that's already recorded, obviously. But the first act has to be sort of what happened in the last sort of 48 hours. So we're going to start working on it sort of tomorrow, the first act, and Monday, and hopefully we'll have it ready in time.
But a lot of it is going to be you around the world, right?
Yeah, all the field pieces are going to be international. So on the first episode, we're doing a field piece where we went to Holland and we recorded a thing on a character called Black Pete over there, which I don't know if you know much about Holland, but Holland's basically, in my mind, probably the most socially forward-thinking society on earth. You know, prostitution, drugs, gay marriage. You want to live your life, you live it how you please. But at Christmas time, they have Santa Claus, and then they have Santa's helper called Black Pete, who's just a person in blackface, and it's not just one of them, thousands of them line the street. And here's the deal: if you're a good kid, Santa will give you gifts. If you're a bad kid, Black Pete will put you in a sack and take you to Spain. And they don't see this as racist in any way. The kids all have blackface, and they go, oh, it's just a fun little tradition that, and it's not like a little bit of blackface, it's like a curly wig's involved, like big jewelry and stuff like that. And now they're trying to back away from no, it's not Santa's slave. They go, what it is he goes down the chimney before Santa Claus, and that's why he's black. Like they're trying to, so now they're changing it to Chimney Pete. That's what they call him now. And also, I don't even understand why it has to be called Black Pete. Just call him Pete. We get the gist of what you're doing, Holland. So we're doing, that's going to be on the first episode. We did a piece on the Great Barrier Reef. We went out to Australia and we looked at that because that's all but dead. We went to Slovenia to go to Melania Trump's hometown, and man, I got to hand it to her. I'd suck an old man's dick to get out of that town. You know, I think it went a little bit further than she wanted it to go. Yeah. I don't think she wanted to live in the White House, but I understand the premise behind getting out of there.
That's almost like the Slovenia. Is that the name?
Slovenia, a town called Savinska or something like that. And Slovenia is like, how do I sugarcoat this? It's shit, right? Yeah. It's shit. Like Slovenia, like her hometown is a 2-hour drive. You can go to Venice. Why wouldn't you fucking go to Venice?
Right, yeah.
Like, why would you, like, basically, that's shitty. It's without the canals. It's shitty Italy. That's what Slovenia is.
Shittily. But it's almost like that's her version of Black Pete, is Trump has grabbed her and pulled her off to D.C.
Well, we went over there because she sent her lawyers in, basically stopping, because when the election went through, a few people did the old, here's the Melania hamburger, here's Melania t-shirts, and they sent the lawyer's name in going, you can't put the Trump name on anything at all in this little tiny town because, you know, Trump isn't associated with shit products.
So you'll have these pieces and then it's going to be you in the studio talking about the news and...
Yeah, look, it's, you know, I'm not going to lie to you and say it's a completely new spin on these type of shows. No, it's the same as, like if someone wants to say that I've ripped off Samantha Bee or John Oliver or something like that, well, they ripped off The Daily Show, and The Daily Show ripped off the news, and The Daily Show ripped off the news report on SNL, you know. So the big difference will be, as I said, that it's going to be more international. It's going to be more of a think piece, like similar to, you know how you got like those shows on Fox that they call the news, but it's just a bloke giving his opinion? Like the O'Reilly Factor or Hannity or something like that. They're not really news. News is delivering the news. News is meant to be impartial. And we've sort of moved away from that in the society now, where news is just people giving their opinions. And you know, you should just be given the facts. Yeah.
Well, most of the news, TV news is, the Washington Post came up with this story. Now we're going to comment on it. But they don't have their own real reporters out in the field digging up their own. So like,
not anymore. I like local news.
Yeah.
I like that's the stuff that I watch now, and I love it because I travel the world. I like to tune into and we've got a fair down the road, and I like Australian news because there's no real guns and killing and stuff like that. So that when I've been living here for a long time, the news is just so mundane. You go over there and they're like, Steve lost his bike. And you're like, fuck, and everyone's, I know Steve, and then the late night news is like this: found Steve's bike, everyone. Good
relief. A country can sleep now.
I really was. I was there last time, and the news story was I was in Cairns, which is like where the reef is, and the news story while we were there in Cairns was a bottle shop. Was like a liquor store, was held up by a man holding a bottle. So the guy went into the liquor store, got a bottle of wine and said, give me all your fucking money or I'll smash you over the head with this bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Like, he got his weapon from the store he was robbing. And then, like, over the course of the days, I saw, like, 3 days later that the bottle had fingerprints on it, and it was just a big ongoing case. But, yeah, so the big difference between me from my show and all those other shows is it's me. That's the big difference.
Yeah, that's it.
I think I have a quality that, for doing the news, that will be more interesting in the sense that okay, they tested the show. We did a pilot. The pilot turned out fine. And they tested the show. And the one thing that came back from everyone was they don't like me wearing a suit. I looked extremely uncomfortable wearing a suit. Like everyone sees me as such a fucking sloppy guy.
Yeah.
They're like, if he wears a tie, we just feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so that was the big note. Oh, you can't wear a tie. And I'm like, but I want to wear a tie. And they're like, nah, you're not allowed to wear a tie. So I think I have an ability to sort of dumb down intelligent topics or smarten up really dumb things. So hopefully I'll be like the thinking man's idiot or the idiot's thinking man or something like that. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but I'll meet everyone in the middle.
Now, you know, because you talked about format change, that the format is kind of similar, but that's true of stand-up too. You go up there, there's a microphone. And instead, I don't know whether like the second guy ever to go up, everybody said, "Oh, you're ripping off the first guy."
This is the thing. They go. This is such a crowded space. So this is, and I'm like, they go, "Why make another comedian talking about the news show?" And it's like, "Why make another fucking sitcom?"
Right.
Like, we made Seinfeld. That was good. Why did we? Why did we continue to do it? And also, it's weird because everyone who's asking me that question is interviewing me. And I just did 8 interviews that fucking day. And I'm like, we have Barbara Walters. What the fuck are you doing?
Now, is this going to be a live show or?
No, we'll record it on day of. We have to because I'm not good at reading, and the show's really good at reading. We did a test show yesterday, and I'm getting better at the teleprompter, but I'm a little bit dyslexic, or a lot dyslexic, but I'm getting better. So I sit in my office all day and just like put anything I can read on a teleprompter. I just sit there trying to read the day's news, you know. But we record like at 1:00 on a Tuesday, and we have to edit it in time for it to be on TV West Coast. I think this is the first comedy news-based show to film out of LA.
Is that right?
Yeah, all the other shows, Oliver, Samantha Bee and Daily Show, all filmed here in New York. And, you know, I got my kid, and I think they even wanted me to do it in New York, but I got my kid and stuff's in LA. I didn't want to move. And so we have to record it at 1 PM to make it in time. I think we're trying to hide the fact that we're in LA. And like, because for some reason people don't take LA people seriously. If we talk about news, the only news that people can talk about in LA is celebrity news.
Right.
And it's like when they gave us the first set designs, I was like, don't put a fucking palm tree in there. Because if you put a palm tree in there, people go, oh, they're going to be talking about celebrities.
Yeah. But it is true. Like, you see a palm tree and it almost looks retired. Like, it's a person who really doesn't give a shit. They lived the life and now they're out here in the sun.
But it's even like that. Like Conan, when he used to be in New York, it was like a serious sort of newsy sort of thing. And then when he moved out to LA, it was palm trees and shit. And now it's just like a moon. Everything's like a bit happier. I don't know why. You're indoors. You can do whatever you want. You can have a palm tree on a New York set. No one's going to arrest you. Palm trees all round, I say.
Are you going to have any newsmakers on with you, like politicians coming in to sit down?
We're going to have some people come in and sit down. We've interviewed some politicians for the field pieces. In the pilot, we had my buddy Rob O'Neill came in, and I interviewed Rob O'Neill. Rob O'Neill's the guy who shot bin Laden.
Yeah.
Right? And he's nice. He's a nice fella. I'll tell you how I met Rob O'Neill, right? Rob O'Neill, the guy who did some of my photos a while back, he was taking photos and he said, oh, who's your favourite musician? Who's, like, trying to make him feel comfortable. Who's your favourite comedian? And he goes, Jim Jefferies. And he goes, I know Jim Jefferies. Do you want to meet him? So the guy brings me up and he goes, the guy who shot bin Laden wants to meet you. and he goes, I always felt weird about meeting him one-on-one. And I said, I'm having a party on Saturday. Tell him to come to my party. Now, I wasn't having a party, right? And so what I did was I rang up like 12. I said, it's just a little gathering around, like 12 friends. And I go, all right, the guy who shot Bin Laden's going to come. You should come over. We'll have a barbecue. So I set up this barbecue at my house. This is about 2 years ago. I set up this barbecue at my house and I'm like, okay, so a few of the SEAL Team 6 were coming over. A few of his buddies as well were coming over. And I assumed we weren't allowed to talk about it. Like this would be a thing that they're not allowed to talk about. So I gathered all my friends, the people who didn't know why they'd come over to the house, and said, look, here's the deal. The guy who shot Bin Laden's coming over to the house, but you can't say anything. It's a big secret, but just know the guy who shot Bin Laden is going to be over here, right? And everyone's like, yeah, fuck yeah, no, I won't say anything, right? So these big, muscular sort of Navy SEAL guys show up, and then this sort of balding ginger guy shows up with this really hot 22-year-old, and I'm like, that's probably the guy who shot Bin Laden. Like, that's got to be a great pickup line at any bar. Like, he was dating well out of his league, so I was like, all right, that'd be the guy who shot Bin Laden. So he's standing there. I'm like flipping at hamburger patties or something like that, and he comes and walks up to me, and I go, and he goes, oh, hello, Jim, and I said, look, I haven't told anyone at the party, but I know who you are, and I just want to thank you for your service, and just, it's really great meeting you, and I promise that I won't tell anyone what you've done. And then he said so loudly, what, that I killed Bin Laden? And then he couldn't fucking shut up about it. For the rest of the party, I'd be walking out, and then he's like, and then I went up the stairs.
Yeah, he's riding that wave for a long time now.
No, he's not even Navy SEAL anymore. He's a Fox correspondent. He's a fun guy.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys, because you go out with other, like, I've been out with a few of the SEAL Team 6 guys, and when you're out drinking, I'm not the type of person to get into fights. I'm a walk away sort of guy if a confrontation gets to me, but all of a sudden, when you're out with 3 members of SEAL Team 6, someone bumps into you, you're like, want to fucking go, buddy?
Now, the thing about you talking, I saw you on Bill Maher not too long ago, and with Piers.
Yeah, me and Piers, yeah.
It looks like you laid into him pretty hard for TV.
The problem is now, is if I talk about Piers Morgan, one of you will tweet that I talked about, or anyone listening will tweet that I talked about Piers Morgan, then Piers Morgan will pipe up again, oh, this guy needs to get press off me all the time. he took credit, Piers Morgan took credit for me getting my TV show because I told him to fuck off on television. Yeah. And the reality is the pilot had already been filmed 2 months ago, and I already knew the announcement was coming, but I just had to be quiet. And then, like, the next day they announced, because that's how television works.
Right.
You tell Piers Morgan to fuck off, and then Comedy Central, a show given. You know what I mean?
So they loved it. Comedy Central loved that you did that.
I don't know if they loved it. It was, okay, what happens is me and Piers Morgan haven't liked each other for a very long time. And we're both, weirdly enough, I think he never liked me because I had a gun control routine that did very well, and he was the anti-gun foreign guy, and I think he got a little jealous that I took a bit of his thunder because he was the anti-gun foreign fella. And so anyway, a few times one time when I was very drunk, took a few digs at Piers Morgan because he's very easy to bait on the internet. Now I hate internet trolls, but Piers Morgan's a different animal, you know. And so I went after Piers and just baited him a bit until he lost his fucking shit. And so that happened, and then I did it again, and then you know, it was always weird how I feel like me and Piers have very similar political views, but then he sucks up to Trump just because he was on the Celebrity Apprentice. You know, he always sucking up. He'll defend anything, you know. Anyway, so I didn't know that I was on the show with Piers Morgan, and I sent out a tweet the day I was doing Bill Maher that was, hey, I'm going to be on the Bill Maher show today. Tune in on HBO at whatever time it's on, you know. And then he sent me a message that said, I'll be sitting 5 feet away from you. Bring your A game. And so this wasn't a spare of the moment thing. Right. That whole afternoon, I was like, if that cunt gives me a window. know what I mean? Like I was looking for a fight, you know, and so I sat there and I thought, if I get a chance, and then he gave me a window and I fucking went to town on him. And the weird thing about it was he was probably winning the fight, but then I teased. I was being childish. I was yelling at him, talking over the top of him. It wasn't a real great discussion for me. But then he did something stupid that you should never do to a comedian. So he went, okay, you're losing your audience here, Jim. Mm-hmm. I know when I've got the audience or not. Every comedian knows that. I said, so am I really? And then they all clapped, and then it's like he lost all of his power.
Yeah, he was crushed.
But afterwards, I put my arm around him and I took a photo for, after the show, and I said, bit of fun, isn't it, Pierce, And then he didn't show up. He didn't show up for the drinks afterwards. He didn't want to be in the same room as me. So I'm going to put it out here. You're more than welcome to come on my show, Pierce, if you'd like to come on, and we'll chat again and we'll go an extra round,
But it's not like you guys disagree politically. You kind of disagree personally.
We don't disagree politically at all. I just think he's a cunt and he doesn't like me. It's purely personal. I think we're one of the few people, if we just talk politics, we'd probably get along. I just find him just a fucking dirtbag. He's such an awkward guy to be around. He just...
But see,
he just has a face that you wouldn't get bored of punching. You know what I mean?
But this is the thing. You don't mind if you have enemies, right? It doesn't bother.
I mind if I bump into them. Yeah. Right now, I don't particularly care. No.
Yeah.
No, but it is that weird thing when you're a comedian, you say a few, I'm sure like David Spade used to say so much on SNL that like every time he went to a celebrity party, he must have been just hiding in the bathroom, But it is that weird thing when you bump into a person that you've said a joke about. And I did an interview. I interviewed Brad Pitt the other day. Mm-hmm. For Netflix, got me to interview Brad Pitt, right? But I did a joke about him buying his children way back in one of my stand-up routines about him buying his kids. And, he didn't seem to mind, but I was cautious.
Because your stuff never goes away because you record all these specials and albums. Your stuff really, like a lot of people that are doing stand-ups in the clubs, it comes up, it's dropped, that's it. Your stuff's a little more permanent.
It sort of sticks with you forever, and people, I don't think they do this with music, but they definitely do it with stand-up. People don't like you growing up. Mm. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that I recorded in my early 20s, and I'm just talking about drugs and fucking one-night stands and fucking, you know what I mean? That's sort of not the guy I am anymore because I'm just older and I can't handle drugs as much and women don't find me as attractive. You know what I mean? But there's the fans that I used to like him more when he was shoving sex toys up his ass, right? And you're like, well, I've had hemorrhoid surgery since then. So those days are over.
Oh no, someone yells, oh no.
Yeah, no, I tell you, I have. That was one of the weird, because they lay you sort of like in a massage table so your head's in a hole. And they give you the anesthesia, and you're on a sort of triangular pillow with your ass as high as possible. They went right in there. Like I had a varicose vein running up my asshole. And the last thing that I remember was one of the nurses, as I was going under, she went, my boyfriend's a big fan of Boom. And so there's no way, like if she was a big fan, there's a chance she would have kept it to herself. But of course she's telling her boyfriend, that guy.
There's a selfie somewhere with your asshole and her. She's just like,
I'm going to, this is the last name drop I do, but I'm friends with Russell Crowe, and he said, because all us Australians know each other, but he said to me, that when he has surgery, he has to have one of his friends stand in the room so that doesn't happen, because of course, this whole idea that a doctor will never tell anyone about you. What's the fucking chances?
Right.
Of course they're going to tell. I would. There's no special oath. Like what happens if someone tells another person, you go, but you took an oath, and they're like, It's like priests. You can go in there and say anything to them, and they'll never tell anyone. Yeah, because like none of them have ever fucked kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like these seem to be pretty fucking honest sort of people.
Yeah. They all drink too, so who knows?
I said none of them. I didn't say all of them are fucking. The way that you just groaned is like, I said all of them are fucking. No, some of them have definitely fucked kids.
I don't think this show's going to be too controversial that you're doing for Comedy Central.
That's a fact, right?
But a lot of, like you said, that stuff ends up sticking to you for years, like something that you said years before, and it makes it difficult to get away.
But that's the whole thing. Like the Beatles do, I Want to Hold Your Hand, and then by the end they're singing, Blackbird or Revolution or the White Album or something like that, and everyone goes, well, that was a natural progression. But with a comedian, it seems like all your jokes should be around you, any age that you live.
It's almost like a politician, whatever they said when they were younger, follows them. The same is true.
Oh, I even stick up for Trump when they say, oh, he said something stupid on the Stern Show or something. I used to do Opie and Anthony so much, and the shit I said on that show.
Yeah.
I once went into that show, I'm talking 7 years ago, but I was plastered on ecstasy. Like, not a little bit, and being very lewd with a porn star on there, like I can't run for any government. Like these like never. And I find it so weird because it was hard for me to get in to the building because my real second name, Jefferies, is a middle name, right? Jim Jefferies, I use my middle name. My real last name is Nugent. Which is weird because I could be like the anti-gun Nugent. I think we need one, but I changed it. So every time I get down to this office, they're always like, we need to see ID, and then they go, we don't have this name, and I go, well, I'm Jim Jefferies, and they go, do you have anything official that says that? And then I just sort of Google myself on my phone, I go like, here's like 1,000 pictures. And they're like, yeah, we need something official. Yeah, because that's what I did, just to trick you. I made 7 comedy specials and put them online just so I could get through your special fucking barrier, right? Now it turns out that I'm more charming on ecstasy because I bullshitted my way in with 7 people I met at the club on ecstasy, and I got upstairs, and Roland, who books it, Roland just let us all in. It's mayhem.
Yeah, he is. He definitely is mayhem. But that is the weird thing about that too, is that this building, celebrities come in here and they still have to show ID. I did an interview one time with David Crosby, and he wouldn't take off his sunglasses for them, and they're calling upstairs saying, we're not letting this guy up. And I'm like, it's David Crosby from the Birds. He's been a fucking celebrity since 1965. Let him up the goddamn, he's not going to hurt anybody, Well,
the lady downstairs even said to me, she goes, oh, I know you've been here before. I've met you before, but what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, even if we're at the airport, you should be able to. I had a guy at customs the other day who knew I was lying. Just knew it. Because, I try not to lie in my life, but there's certain times. Custom forms. Have you ever taken drugs? No. You know what I mean? Like, where you have to lie, And so I'm going into Canada, and I was doing 3 shows, and I didn't get a work visa for those shows sorted out in time. So I just went into Canada. I was like, I'm here on personal reasons. And the guy behind the counter's like, okay, so you're here for personal reasons? What would that personal reason be? And I always, because I'm only there for 2 days, I always go, bachelor party. My friend's having their bachelor party, because that's where everyone fucking has one, Winnipeg. Right? And I'm like, I'm here for a bachelor party. He goes, okay, no problem. Looking forward to the show tomorrow, Jim. And he just stamps me and lets me through, and I'm like, all right, well, he just knew I was a liar.
Sure. But Australians, you guys do have this reputation for traveling freely. Everywhere I go, there's Australians.
There's only 20 million Australians. There's 7 billion people on the planet. There's 330 million Americans, and I bump into, like they can say, the Jews run Hollywood or something like that. No, Australians run Hollywood. Australians run it. Like, for only 20 million people, every second actor is Australian. Like, I reckon we literally take up 30% of all actors on your television are Australian people doing voices. And we're only 20 million people.
Well, what they say one of the reasons why is because Australians look as masculine as Americans used to look. So that's why they pick Australian.
Is that what you're saying about Nicole Kidman? Because a lot I was including females in this, you know.
Yeah.
You got your Margot Robbie, Naomi Watts, what's the name? The one that's married to Sacha Baron Cohen, Isla Fisher.
Yeah.
They're all Australians.
All Australians.
And the man is, you know, goes back to Mel Gibson. But that was the weird thing about Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson moved to Australia when he was 3 or 4, and his father was American. And then he went through NIDA, which is the National Institute of Dramatic Art, because Australia puts a lot of money into the arts because we have nothing. Culturally, we have nothing, right? Like there's a British joke, which is, what's the difference between Australia and yogurt? Yoga has culture in it, right? So Australia tries to make things more like, here's things, you're a painter, here's a grand, here's like, we really try to make this. So Mel Gibson went through the top acting school there. He actually was roommates with Jeffrey Rush. And the two of them, Jeffrey Rush took 20 years to make it, and you just watched his roommate just fucking go through it. Anyway, so Mel Gibson, we always like, he's Australian, and for years and years I've been hearing this whole, no, Mel Gibson is an American actor, he's American. I go, he was in Gallipoli and Mad Max, he's definitely Australian. So he's an American, he's American. Then he says the N-word, and the news went, Australian actor Mel Gibson. And that was the first time I'd heard him referred to as an Australian actor again. Now I'm like, no, he's American now. He's American.
Well, I saw the documentary on Heath Ledger, and they brought up the fact that Australians, once you start to make it, they want to cut you down a little bit. They don't like the idea.
Yeah, I did. This is going to sound really arrogant, but I'm arguably the biggest Australian stand-up comedian, just like to break America, that no other Australian comic really broke America or played big rooms or anything like that. And I go back to Australia and I do like 10,000 seat venues, like basketball stadiums and stuff like that. And I still can't get on the fucking TV over there. I still can't get interviewed or anything. I think the Australian media is a little bit ashamed of me because I'm so synonymous with swearing and the word cunt that the Australian public are just like, oh, we don't say that here. Oh, well, why is it so easy for me to fucking say? You know, I got to give Comedy Central credit that the tagline for my show is grabbing late night by the country. Mm-hmm. And like we all know what they mean. Yeah. I thought there was the pussy grabbing overtones and there was a little bit of cunt in there, and good for you, Comedy Central. But I don't say that word as much as people think. Every time after I do a gig, people are always like, oh, me and my friends had a pool and how many times, basically a cunt count, you know? Yeah. And people always guess like 80 times. It's always like 9 times in an hour and a half. It's not
very little. I mean, I'll just ask people here, what do we think? 14 so far? Higher than 14?
Yeah, no, I've probably said it 10 times in the show.
But remember, I would say 10 times talking about Piers Morgan.
Yeah. Oh, well, Piers Morgan is basically the same word.
But in your mind now, do you feel Australian or do you feel American?
It's strangely okay. So I'll always I'll become an American citizen as soon as I can. I love that my son's American and Australian. I got him an Australian passport as quickly as possible, so he's a dual citizen. I'm an Australian, and this is going to sound really weird, who lives in America and who feels British.
Yeah.
I feel British because I lived in the UK for almost 10 years. I lived in London, a little bit in Manchester. I feel like I'm a pale guy who doesn't like the sun. I'm happy when it rains. I like dingy little bars and pints of lager, and that's sort of, and my music taste sort of from the 90s was all Blur and Oasis and the Stone Roses and all that sort of Manchester music that came out. And so I feel my sensibilities British, and I'm a moaner as well. I'm always bitching and moaning, and so I feel like you'd probably be better off if you were to cast me in a movie. You'd probably put me as British before you'd put me as Australian, because I've been to casting calls where they go, we want an Australian guy, and everyone else has like sandy blonde hair and they're tan and what you picture an Australian being. I don't think I look like what people think of as Australian. Incidentally, I was basically offered a role in a movie coming up, and I couldn't take it because I was doing the show, and I never get off the movie parts, but it was like the young Robin Hood coming up, and they've got like the kid from the Kingsman playing Robin Hood. I think Jamie Foxx is there. I heard like Benito del Toro is going to play like the villain or something, like the sheriff of Nottingham and all that type of stuff. And then I'm like, wow, young Robin Hood is going to be a $200 million movie. And I go, who would I be? And they go, Friar Tuck. And I'm like, one of the ugliest characters in cinematic history. And they're like, no, but the young Friar Tuck. And so that was it. Now, I don't know if I just blew a big Hollywood secret there. I did something on Opie and Anthony back in the day. I did something wrong that still haunts me to this day. That just a sentence that I said, so I might have just done it again. I had a sitcom for a very little while that no one saw on FX and called Legit. And in Legit, there was Carrie Fisher was on an episode. So I got to spend a day with Carrie Fisher. And Carrie Fisher was like dieting and in different ways, if I can remember. And I was chatting to her, and she was like, oh, I got to lose so much weight because my next job I got to be a princess again. And like her next job was being Princess Leia, and we talked about Star Wars and all this type of stuff. And so like a few weeks later, I'm on the Opie and Anthony show, and they go, how was working with Carrie Fisher? I go, oh, we just sat there and talked about how she's in the next Star Wars. And then if you Google this, Jim Jefferies tells world that fucking Carrie Fisher is in the new Star Wars. And this was meant to be a big reveal that they were going to have a press conference. And I fucking ruined Star Wars. And this is the weird thing that I didn't see Carrie after that, and I lived in fear about bumping into Carrie Fisher, and thank God I don't have to do that again.
So you got away with it.
You know, I knew if I just waited long enough, I'd be fine. She was a very nice lady. I feel terrible about that. But, you know, I didn't think that Gary the dog would outlive her, to be honest. That was the dog she took everywhere.
That dog's still doing well.
It was Gary and Carrie. It was, she was a very nice lady. She said to me once, what happened was I was on Kimmel and I complained about my mother got deep vein thrombosis, which is the disease where the condition where you sit in economy for 24 hours and you get blood clots in your legs, right? But my mother got it on a luxury cruise. And I'm like, it's all right for people in economy, but how do you get it on a luxury cruise? Like, how little do you have to move to get blood clots in your legs? Anyway, so I did this whole thing about my mother. My mother sees the show and she rings me up and she's so upset and she goes, you need to go back on the Jimmy Kimmel show and tell the American public that you're a liar. And I said, how am I a liar? She goes, I didn't get deep vein thrombosis on the boat. I got diagnosed on the boat. I got deep vein thrombosis at home. Right? And I said, well, that's even worse. And so anyway, so I thought, oh, this is great. So the next time on the show, like a year later, I'm like, my mother said I have to tell the American public I'm a liar. And so I did it. So I did that like the night before, and then I was on set, and Carrie Fisher was there, and I tell her this story. And she goes, oh, your mother sounds exactly like my mother. And I'm like, are you comparing my mother to Debbie Reynolds? No, not the same at all. Her mum was still doing shows where she was dancing around a bit. My mum was literally laying in a lazy boy for 40 years until she got blood clots in her legs. Not the same.
Now, what does your family think about everything that's happened with you?
My parents were very against me getting into stand-up comedy when I first did it. My father enjoys it a little bit more than my mother, but as I said, my mother doesn't really move anymore, so her whole life is just, she has Google alerts on me. So she will actually, so every single thing, so I avoid the internet like the plague. I avoid it because I don't want to see negativity, and and it just can get you down. Like a little bit of it doesn't bother you, but just the constant barrage, so I try not to read any of the comments or anything like that. And my mother will ring me up and go, "Oh, I heard you had a bad show on Thursday." And I'm like, I didn't think it was a bad show. Some of the people were disappointed. Can you stop? So she'll remind me of everything shit I do, and she's not allowed to come and see my shows. But I bought my parents Mercedes. That was like the first sort of thing, and I went home to Australia, and it was like $80,000 car, and I drove my dad down. And I said, I just want to stop and have a look at this car, blah, blah. And then he had the car, and it had a sheet over it and his name on a little, like, stand-up plaque thing. Mm-hmm. And they said, "Hello, Gary." And Dad's like, "How do they know my name?" And they pulled the sheet off, and I said, "That's your car, Dad." And he almost cried. And then my mum, I come home, she goes, "You got your father an $80,000 car. You never buy me anything." And I go, "You don't fucking move. I got you the best TV you can get. I got you a walker. If you want an $80,000 throne, I'll get you an $80,000 throne, but I feel like I've just spent everything that you can be spent on." And so I said, "And plus, Dad will be driving you to your doctor's visits in the car, so it's your car as well." And she's like, "Fine, then I want a key as well." And I'm like, "But you can't drive. Yeah. Why do you need a key as well?" And she goes, "What if there's an emergency?" Okay, so what is this scenario where Dad's driving you and he faints and there's a bushfire and only you can save the day? But as Dad fainted, he threw his key out the window, and only you with your new key can save the day. Like, what is this? When is this happening? You know what it is? And she also went on eBay and she bought like a really big Mercedes keyring with the logo. And she carries the key around with her. And she's not allowed, they took her license away from her. She's not allowed to drive. But she carries this key around her so that when she's at the pharmacy and she's getting her prescription, she can go, "Oh, there's so many things in this bag here." Oh, and then she can just dump the key in front of her, like, and go, boom, Mercedes, like. She's one of those people that she thinks she's fancy. We're very working class, and my mother would love to have been a fancy lady. She would have loved to have been highfalutin, but we were painfully working class.
Yeah. And I think that is why people don't want to see you in the suit. I think you still carry that around. I don't think you lose that. I don't. Yeah, even when you get money, I still. Like, my house is, like, decorated with shit furniture. Nothing. I don't know how people do that, because every time I got a bit of money, I'm like, I'll buy a new chair. And then you have to decorate a house at once. Right. You can't do it bit by bit. Because I'm like, I bought the best table, and then there's the best couch over there and the best seats, but they're all bought 6 months apart, and they don't match up. And my house is very disappointing. But maybe that is what connects you to your audience. Maybe.
I think there's something about being a working class hero or something, like John Lennon said. I think there's something about. Like, new money are the best people at a party. Old money are a bunch of cunts, right? Like people who grow up, and that's what I look at my son like that. Like, oh, I love him, but he's going to be such a cunt. But he can't help it. He's going to go to really good schools and meet other cunts.
And fit in, like all kids.
And then go, oh, these are my people, and then they're going to be a bunch of cunts. Like there's no way around. At the moment, I'll tell you what happened at my school. That my kids' preschool, they want to have like a fundraiser, which I don't know why, because we're all paying for it.
Yes, right.
You know, like if you put a kid through a private school, you pay all this money, and then they go, hey, and can they also sell some fucking cookies or something to raise money for what? Just bump the price up. If we're not giving you enough to make the school work, then you're not charging enough money. There shouldn't be the fee, then some, all the other parents are doing, well, they're fucking idiots, because I'm working really hard to pay for you, so they do these things. So they wanted to have a fundraiser, and they go to me, they go, oh, can you perform at the fundraiser? And I felt like going, well, how much money will I raise? Can I just donate that money and not come?
Right.
Because that would be a lot easier for me, and then everyone could stop bothering me, And so they're like, and they go, and I also, plus my comedy's so particular, I don't know if I want the other parents to see what I do. I don't want to go down there and go, I said cunt 1,000 times, And so they're like, oh, well, look, it wouldn't be hard. You'd just be doing 10 minutes. You'd be the opening act. And then I got offended, like, what? Did you just say I'd be the opening act for your fucking fundraiser at your school? I'm the opening act. I said, what's the closing fucking act? And they go, Daft Punk? And I'm like, oh, they are a big group.
Yeah. You don't want to follow them.
Yeah, I don't want to follow them. They're a hard act to follow. Now, but here's the weird thing. So obviously, my kid goes to school with one of the Daft Punk kids. And I don't know which dad's the fucking Daft Punk dad, because he doesn't wear his helmet to school. Yeah, there's a few like celebrity kids there. Yeah. It's a weird sort of thing. There's one particular very, very, I don't want to say who it is because it's not nice of me to say who is there. But there's one particular, like a famous movie star, stand-up comedian from the 70s, like kid that goes there. And the dad, I'm a huge fan of this guy's dad. And my son it's the daughter. A huge fan of, my son gets along with almost every kid except for that fucking kid. Right? And I'm like, why don't you get along with that kid? And my son's like, don't like her. And I'm like, but Dad wants to go to her birthday party. I'll tell you off there who it was.
I got a fairly good idea. But, it's funny because you're bringing this up with your show, of course, the Jim Jefferies show, and you're going to be current events. And just as we're recording this, everyone is mad at Kathy Griffin because, she held up the Trump head, and they claim Trump's kid saw that, thought
Barron?
Barron, yeah. And he thought his dad's head was cut off on TV.
Well, then Barron's not very bright. Look, far, like, what is he, 11?
Yes, he's 11.
Not 4.
Yeah.
He's 11. Look, okay, maybe in 4 years towards the end of the presidency, we can start ripping into Barron when he's 15, because that seems like an age you can start saying things.
Yeah.
But like at 11, we really can't say anything about Barron, but let's be honest here. Trump produces two types of kids. Donald Jr. and Ivanka are those sort of maniacal, I'm going to rule the world, very switched on, intelligent. Mm-hmm. And then there's Eric! and like Tiffany, who knows what she's like? No one's talked to her for more than 5 seconds, right? Including Donald. And you just know that in the White House there's like fucking, like Donald and Ivanka in the corner playing a game of Risk, saying how they're going to take over the world. And in the other corner, Eric and Barron are rolling a ball to each other.
By the way, the Jim Jefferies show is going to be fucking great. I can just tell that this.
Look, that's not very nice. I'm not going to pass judgment on Barron for a few more years, but in 4 years he's open to the public. He thought his dad's head was going. What do you think about Kathy Griffin doing this thing? Look, I'm happy for her that she made it as far as she did with her level of talent. I didn't for a second think she'd make it this far, and I'm amazed this is the way how it ended. I think she should be happy that it didn't just fade away like we all thought it would. And also, everyone's like, CNN have stopped her from working from a gig that's one day a year?
Yeah.
What is she, fucking Santa?
Right. It's one day a year, and the one day that every comic can get booked, New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
It's like she won't be out of work that day.
She'll get a gig. In fact, there'll be some other network that will just offer, like, we're the edgy station who will have Kathy Griffin.
Yeah.
But she won't be doing it with what's his name?
Anderson Cooper.
I love Anderson Cooper.
Yeah.
If I was gay, he's my first stop. Anderson Cooper. I just like him because he would tell me things and educate me. In bed, he'd be like, Jim, your opinions are really bad. And I go, why, Anderson, why?
Now, is that a guy you'd have on your show and talk?
Oh, I'd love to have Anderson. I think Anderson Cooper's the shit. There's just something about the guy that's so likable. And even just when he said the other day, like, take a dump on the desk, like, and also like the eye rolls, just like, he's just, I like him and Dom Lemon.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is every now and again you hear it and you're like, they're talking about John Lennon. And you're like, oh no, it's Dom Lemon. Like it sounds like a bad Beatles tribute act.
Now, do you have a dream guest, somebody that you would love to have on? Is there a list of people?
Oh, jeez, I haven't even thought about that. That's a weird thing, like a dream guest. He'd probably, like, the president.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I'd love to have the president on. Or whoever is the chief of staff from week to week. Or Comey would be great.
Yeah.
Comey would be fantastic. Because he's just, like, there's a movie coming out summer 2018 called Comey. There's no fucking way about it. There's no way around it because he really did cost Hillary the election, whether you agree with what he did or didn't. But like that last little email dump was the thing that tipped it over. And then he fucking was about to cost Trump the presidency, and then he got fired. Like, this guy has done more in history in a couple of months than fucking anyone.
Right. But it all feels like broken ice too, doesn't it? It felt like for the last year the ice has been cracking, and we have no idea. Well, I mean, the fact that you're doing this show now, there's no other time in history that I think...
I'm doing the Daily Show tonight, and I was going to talk about, like, can you name another time in history where we knew every member of the cabinet?
No, it's amazing, yeah.
Like with Obama, I knew, like, the president, the vice president, and the secretary of defense, and it's pretty much... I didn't know who was the spicer role?
Yeah, there was a couple of people who did it, right?
Yeah, but like everyone knows Spicer.
Yeah, Spicer, he's amazing TV.
I love him.
Yeah.
Because I think that he would be like, he would do that job for, what's he, press secretary? Right. He would do that job for a Democrat or a Republican. It's just the job he wanted. Right? Yeah. And then he's got the job, and now he's just got an ulcer, and he's just like, fuck. And he gets handed like blatant lies sometimes.
Sure.
And they just go out and lie for a spicy, and he's just like the time that he said it was the most attended inauguration. It wasn't.
Right.
And there's no shame in that. You're not going to get more people attending it than the first black president. That was such an historical thing. And it was a beautiful summer's day. And then we go back to another white guy on a rainy day, and you want to argue that it's more people. Like, there's no shame in, you can say it was a pretty good turnout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no shame in that. Why did you, and then it's like Spicy just go out and say that it was the biggest turnout, and he goes, but it's obvious from the photos well, just say it. And he's like, all right, boss, I'm in.
I see him working like after this, like for the tobacco industry or something. I mean, he's just amazing.
I don't fundamentally think he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
I just want him to, like, if I ever get married, I want him to officiate my wedding. I just want him just to be like, will you take this lawfully wedded Holocaust? Shit! Just cough up a bit of blood on his shirt.
So where do you see it go? How do you see Trump playing out? Is he going to be able
I don't believe, we're going to do an episode on impeachment, not the impeachment of Trump, on just what is impeachment, because I was getting a bit sick and tired of every dinner party I went to, he'll be impeached. And people just love saying it. And in the news, like, we have a machine that sort of counts up every time something in the news was said. And the word impeachment in 1 week was said like 3,000 times by news channels, right? Like, a lot. Every hour is just impeachment. And it's really hard to impeach someone. Like, they go, Clinton was impeached. But not till he was kicked out of office. No one's ever gone through the full thing. And there's people who've done some, like Nixon would have been impeached, but mostly they just quit. So this whole he'll be impeached, history says no. We've got a far better chance of him just eating too much KFC. Right. Like, that is a substantially better chance of him getting out of the White House than being impeached. But maybe he's the first guy that can happen, because I feel like he's got such an ego. He's the type of guy that would have just stood on the Titanic going, this boat's awesome.
The thing is, this is a little too close to the way we're living right now for me to even feel comfortable with that joke. Because it does feel...
But it's been a hell of a ride.
Yeah, it has been.
I'm glad I'm living in this time. It's, he's, you gotta give it to him. He is going through with his promises. Like every other politician does his promises. Whether you like him or not, I don't like his promises. But he's a man of his word.
Yeah.
He's coming in, fucking building more, doing everything but the tax cuts for the rich. When the fuck is he going to do that? That was the bit that I was like, after the election, I was like, all right, then that'll be good.
Yeah, right. 15%.
And then he's not doing that.
Yeah.
He's ducking out of the Paris Agreement now, and whether he will or he won't, but it sounds like he's going to do that in the next couple of days. And
yeah, I think as we're recording it, it's 3:00 in the afternoon. He'll decide. So we're about an hour and a half away from where he decides whether we're in or out of that.
Yeah, he should be in that one.
Yeah.
That's like, you can't have a guy like him saying, climate change is a hoax, and then having scientists say, nah, it's not a hoax, and him just going, I reckon it is. You know what I mean? Like that famous clip of him saying that once they took CFCs out of hairspray wasn't good anymore. He goes, I've had people tell me that if I'm spraying it on my hair, it affects the ozone layer, but I'm in my apartment. And that's an enclosed area, right? And you're like, no, that's not how and like, we know there's a hole in the ozone layer. That's not a myth. The hole's over Australia. That's why Australia has, the number one killer is skin cancer. And that's why Australian people after 30 look horrible. If you're going to date an Australian girl, get her in her 20s and move her out to Britain. It doesn't, and the men as well. But I was lucky. I got away before the Australian sun really fucking got to me. It's a harsh country.
But when you said the reef, is that damaged now?
The reef's dying.
Yeah.
The reef's gone through 3 bleaching episodes, and the other ones have been attached to El Niños, and that's why, because if the water temperature goes up by 1 degree, that'll bleach the reef. Now, this is the clearest sign in the world. The Great Barrier Reef, one of the 7 wonders, natural wonders of the world, is the clearest sign on Earth that global warming is definitely happening. It's not a rumor, because that reef has been there for thousands of years, and now it is 80% dead, and that all happened in the last 18 months. It happened that rapidly because the temperature went up by 1 degree. And a lot of people are like, yeah, it's dead, but it's going to come back. Dead things don't come back. In fact, I miss my grandmother. I'm not expecting to see her again.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they don't come back. Now, or some new coral will grow, but it takes a long time. And, I hope they're right and I'm wrong. I hope we don't lose these things in the world. But I went scuba diving over what was just fucking dead coral. Now the weird thing is, the tourism industry in Australia is saying, it's dying, but it's not as bad as the scientists say. But tourism for the Great Barrier Reef is through the roof. Like, there's just people are going there because it's see it while it lasts. It's like it's going out of business sale. You know, so everyone's just showing up, swimming. Like, the good thing is you can step on it now.
Right, you couldn't do that before.
I tell you, that's the one thing I find weird about the show is now I have to interview a lot of people, and I've never been an interviewer before, when we do these field pieces. And to be honest, what you're really trying to do is you're really trying to stitch people up. You're trying to make them slip up in the interview and say something stupid and get a soundbite out of them. And that's not, for me personally, a great feeling. I don't like the idea of tricking people. If you're tricking a bad person, that's fun because if you think they're not a good person, you want to get them to say something stupid, right? But if you think they're fundamentally a good person, you're like, don't, you know. So we had this one guy, and he didn't make the edit of the piece, thank God. But as soon as he sat in, this guy he looked like he was a big Aussie bloke. He was the head of tourism of Queensland. He's like, you know, fucking the reef's no good, but we're hoping it'll get better. We're doing everything we can, but still come out. Queensland's a lovely place to visit. And then I said, so what do you think about the Muslim ban in America? He goes, I'll tell you what I think about Muslims. And I thought, I'm about to get something out of him now. And he goes, I was in Saudi Arabia on business, and he goes, they were playing Christmas carols in December. I feel like in many ways they were more tolerant of Christians in Saudi Arabia than we are of Muslims here. And I thought, wow, this guy's a pretty fucking forward-thinking sort of guy. And so then I go, what? Who do you think is killing the reef the most? I said, Mexicans, Muslims, or Asians? And he went, probably Asians. And I went, oh no, no. And I went, oh yeah, why are the Asians? He goes, oh, they're not good swimmers, and they keep kicking at it. And I'm like, and I went, oh, it's probably all the karate. And he went, probably.
Yeah.
And like, I interviewed the guy for an hour and a half, and that was the only moment when he was a little bit, and I was like, oh no, you poor bastard.
Yeah.
Because you can't be the head of Queensland tourism.
Yeah.
When we're in, like, the main tourists there are Asians, and just go, they're fucking kicking the reef.
But I like new stereotypes anyway. I didn't know that they were bad swimmers. I didn't know the Asians were such awful swimmers.
Do you ever see him win gold at the Olympics?
No, that's true. That is true. There it is, folks. Asians can't swim.
I never knew that swimming and driving was associated. It's just one straight lane, and one of them makes a turn halfway through.
Oh, I'm just worried how long the show's going to last.
Well, the thing is, I can say stupid things. I feel like that's one of the good things about what I've cultivated in my early 20s is people go, did you say this horrible thing? And I've gone, I've said way worse shit.
Yeah.
Because that's what Piers Morgan tried to do when everyone was banging on. Because J.K. Rowling's tweeted about how happy she was that I told Piers Morgan to fuck off. And he went, he sent a message to her like, listen to this horrible pedophilic joke that fucking Jim Jefferies said. This is your hero, J.K. Rowling's like that. And a few people were like, oh, that's disgusting. Yeah. But the majority of the internet went, that's Jim. That's what he does. So, because I was doing a lot of grabbing by the pussy jokes after that happened, you know. Yeah. And then people were like, well, it was just locker room talk. You've said way worse things. And it's true, I have said way worse things than grabbing by the pussy, and that's why I agree that I shouldn't be president of the United States of America.
Well, we're all going to make sure that happens, Jim. Jim Jefferies, everybody, the new show. Comedy Central, Tuesdays, 10:30. Thank you so much, man. That was great. Thanks, everybody. That was great, buddy.
You all right?
Yeah. Really, really fun.